You think Kuminga was really hurt last night?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.
100%?
100%. Totally believe it.
Just talked pregame, I guess pregame, whatever it was, where he was going to play.
He was on 95.7 and said that he was going to play.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, Steph's out. Draymond's out. Jimmy's out. Kuminga's going to play. He has to, right? Playing against OKC. And then a back injury comes out of nowhere. Interessante.
I think it happened. I totally believe it. 1,000%. No doubt.
Yeah. I think just at this point, they. I don't think we're going to see Kuminga again. I don't.
Didn't you say that a few weeks ago? And I didn't really believe you, but so far you have been correct.
No, I didn't say that with 100% certainty. I thought that maybe they would just play him here or there. But as we are, 2 weeks away from the trade eligibility date for Kuminga, yeah, I think that after last night, where there's really no excuse not to play him when you're down 3 men. But then again, Steve just simply says that Kuminga hasn't earned the right to be in the rotation. I think that a trade's on the table, and Mike Dunleavy Jr. just came at the last second, being like, let's play the safe. Let's play the safe.
Yeah, maybe maybe this is like a Micah Parsons, Jerry Jones situation where him and Steve Kerr had to sit down, and then Jonathan Kuminga just totally misunderstood what he was saying, and they had like a handshake agreement that he wasn't going to play for the rest of the year, and he didn't know that. I shook his hand, so it's a handshake agreement.
Yeah, I don't think Kuminga would ever do a handshake anything with Steve Kerr anymore.
I think where we're at, Derek, is we need, as we've said, whenever there's some form of turmoil going on within an organization, we need the classic ESPN, Anthony Slater, Ramona Shelburne combine on a piece where they can do a deep investigative journalistic article that's an essay, essentially, where they go and do a deep dive of everything that's gone wrong with Jonathan Kuminga. Not the Hondo Carpenter bullet points, but it seems like it's a surefire thing that he is going to be traded almost as soon as that eligibility date hits, which is the 15th. So I think we're waiting on that. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm not even worried about like his playing time, what his relationship is with Kerr, because it seems it's deteriorated to the point of no return. And I think that now I'm just waiting for that next step, that next phase, what really happened inside that building, because there's so much that Steve Kerr does not reveal. He tends to keep things.
He was pretty open with Tom the other day talking about the reason why him and Draymond got into it.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so apparently it was a whole misunderstanding where Steve thought that Draymond was mad at him for a play or a foul. No, a turnover. And Draymond was pissed off at the refs, and that's why he left early, which seems kind of childish now looking back on it. But from Draymond's point of view, where he could just simply say, I'm arguing with the ref, man. And I think Steve should know that by now. Yeah, I'm not waiting for an Anthony Slater article. I think that will come.
I'm so excited for it.
I'm just waiting for this whole thing to be over, because Steve basically saying we're a fading dynasty, and you know, it's not going to get better until we make a trade. Like last night, shout out to my guy, Austin Scott, digital guy for KNBR, asking Steve Kerr to elaborate on his comments when he was, I guess he did a whole sit down with Amazon Prime talking about how they're not in the same class as these younger teams, the Thunder, the Spurs, the Denver Nuggets. And he elaborated saying like, yeah, we can't expect to be in the same class as those teams right now. They're younger than us, but we can play better. But I think Steve's being around the bush being like, we need to trade for somebody. And maybe that person's Michael Porter Jr. after watching him play against the Warriors the other night. He's got a different role now where he could be that guy. I don't know how he fits as far as a starting rotation, but yeah, I think last night, I think that was the end. I think that it could just be that Kuminga maybe didn't want to play. This maybe goes back to last year where he didn't want to play garbage time in the game against the Rockets, the playoff series. But now I got a feeling that even though Steve a couple weeks ago was asked, like, do you think him getting DMPs would hurt his trade stock? He said, I can't think about that stuff. I'm going to play him if I want to play him. I think somebody in the organization, Mike Dunleavy Jr., got to him and said, we're on the cusp of a trade here.
Maybe. And that sounds very plausible. I think just at the end of the day, though, I got something in my nose and I can't get it out. You see that?
Yeah, I see it. That's okay.
All right, got it.
Really doing this? Okay.
We're good. Yeah, go find that on a Bill Simmons rewatchable podcast.
At least I got a tissue for the last time we were doing this. You just go right in there and dig for gold.
Listen, man, it's right there for the taking. You just got to go with it. All right.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little gross. I'll wash my hands later. But at the end of the day, though, like we're kind of joking about it. But it does suck that it didn't pan out maybe the way that it should have. Whether it was the right pick or the wrong pick.
In your case, the nose pick.
What we've talked about ad nauseum is the fact that he's just as athletic as anyone else that's on the team right now. And they did choose him to kind of help usher in this post-Steph Curry era. And it sucks that it's just not working out the way that it could have for a player like that, whether it's his fault, whether it's the coach's fault, not playing within the Warriors system. He could find success elsewhere, but the athleticism is undeniable. And the solo one-on-one skill that he has, the individual talent, the fact that it didn't work out and it's come to this, it does suck, I think, at the end of the day. Like, I think especially Kuminga, like I really I have not had like a problem with him. I've never had a problem with Kuminga, the person. It seems like he had pretty lofty career goals coming from the Congo. He seemed like a pretty stand-up individual, all things considered. I don't know what's going on within the team, but a guy who works as hard as he did, like look at the Jordan Poole thing. The work ethic that Jonathan Kuminga is putting in is the same type of work ethic that we talked about with Jordan Poole. And that's why he was able to make such a strong leap from, what was it, year 2 to year 3. And that's why people kind of fell in love with Jordan Poole, is because that was another guy who could have been the next big thing. But then Draymond punched him in the face, and then it just all turned to shit from there after he won a championship, and he didn't seem particularly motivated to keep on playing. I don't know what the Kuminga thing, but I just know that it sucks. It really does that a younger guy's career has panned out this way.
Yeah, but it's not over yet, and I'll wait until the trade is actually completed to have a retrospect on Jonathan Kuminga.
Sure.
But yeah, it's fleeing in that direction. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We're coming to you on a Saturday morning, the day of the huge game between the 49ers and the Seahawks for the number 1 seed in the NFC. We'll talk about that later with a good friend of ours. You know him very well, Stephen. I haven't seen him in, God, maybe 8 years. And he filled in for me during the summertime. Ryan Mauser, big-time Seahawks fan, lives in Seattle still, right? Right, Stephen?
Yeah.
He's going to join us around 11:45 to dig into this big-time game.
Yeah. I just wonder what the gravity's like in the Pacific Northwest. We know what it's like here in the Bay Area. Like, we understand it from our perspective, and I just don't think, bring it on like a 49ers person would do anything other than just be a redundant piece of what we've heard over this last week, or these last 2 weeks rather, because really a lot of it's come down to this regular season finale. We kind of predicted that it would. We said this early on. We were like, this could be a big one. And I don't know. I'm kind of the mind that this is a portion. I'm not saying it's his entire career, but I think it's a career defining game for Kyle Shanahan for a portion of it. And that portion is having complete ownage over the Seahawks. I mean, maybe you need three of these types of games. You had the one in 2019 and this one where you're fighting for the 1 seed in the division. Maybe you need a third to officially stake Kyle Shanahan's claim as I can't even think of the word right now. I don't want to say the owner of the Seahawks, but this dude has done everything that Jim Harbaugh really couldn't towards the end there. I know the NFC Championship's a much bigger game, but or was it the divisional round, whatever it was. But I still think this is a huge game for just Kyle Shanahan, but then the Seahawks with Sam Darnold. So I'm very curious to hear what people in Seattle think with that guy who's under center, because that seems to be the only thing holding them back.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into it with Mauser about Sam Darnold, because this is the same spot he was in a year ago, where he was playing for the 1 seed as the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions were both 14-2, and Sam Darnold shit the bed. And now we're here a year later with a different team. He's on the road this time. He was on the road a year ago as well. But all the narratives around him. People are saying, this is a big spot for him. He usually crumbles and craps his pants. So let's see what happens with Sam Darnold tonight. But yeah, it's going to be a very intriguing matchup with the 49ers in these rival uniforms where it's red and gold and mainly black. And they've been practicing all week at Levi's in the rain to prepare for tonight, where it is supposed to be a little soggy because earlier this morning it was pretty crappy outside, but now it's kind of clearing up here in the East Bay. So we'll see what it's like with Levi's. We'll talk to Ryan Mauser about that at 11:45. And we'll talk about another Mauser, Marty
Soggy.
Mauser. Yeah, soggy. We'll review Marty Supreme. I saw that yesterday. Interesting flick. Very interesting flick. As we do pop culture catch up. But speaking of movies, you mentioned Bill Simmons. God, people are loving his reaction to the top 25 rewatchable movies of the past century, where he put
it's his top 50.
50, okay, 50.
Yeah. So
if people are saying it's like Picasso painting when it comes to podcasting.
Not really. It's just making a half-assed list and not having any sense to it. So I listened to the whole thing. I mean, it's funny. Yeah. There's no doubt that it's funny.
So who are the two other guys? Just the guys that are part of the ringer when it comes to movies?
Yeah. So one of the guys sitting there was Sean Fennessy, the guy who does the big picture. And he's he's very much he's the one whose podcast I've been listening to lately because they've been doing that top 25 movies in the 25th century. Okay. But their list is also getting a lot of, I don't want to say backlash, but it's definitely drawing some criticism just because they had these rules where you have to pick like one director only. Like you can't pick more than one director. And there's a few of these other ones, but yeah. So they've been working on this list since March, right? The big picture has, and it feels like Bill Simmons just threw it together like a half hour before the podcast. And it's pretty clear that by his metrics, by his criteria, it's literally his 50 most rewatchable. So he's taking his family into account. Apparently his family are big movie fans.
Yeah.
But like number 50 started with, it was like Proof of Life or something. And then 49 was Just Go With It with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. Yeah.
I mean, that's accurate because that's an easy watch. Proof of Life. Which one's that?
I don't know. I looked it up. It was like some movie from the 2000 with Russell Crowe.
Is that the one with him and Meg Ryan?
Yeah.
There was a whole thing where on the set she was having an affair with Russell Crowe when she was married to Dennis Quaid at the time.
Yeah. Oh, and the other guys, they're the TV show podcast host. So you had the TV show podcast host and the movie podcast host. The guy who does TV shows is more into the kind of action flicks, the sci-fi and whatnot. But yeah, Bill Simmons' list just didn't make any sense. It was just like, number 41, Sicario. And they're like, what?
Sicario is a little overrated, but it's fine. It's a good movie.
What? And then, but in the certain movie circles with people who are diehard fans, they love
Cinephiles.
Sicario.
Yeah,
Cinephiles.
I mean, I think people love it for the last scene where Benicio del Toro is interrogating that family.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that shocked everybody, but the funniest one, the best reaction, the one that's getting shared, and the one I'm sure that you saw the clip. Yeah. It was when he just goes, number 16, Limitless.
And just sits there stoic, and everybody's like laughing at his ass, laughing their asses off at him, just being like, "Are you serious?" I remember when that movie came out, but I've never seen it.
Yeah,
nor do I really care to.
Though, you know what? I'm gonna say though, it was like watching an artist where you're seeing that and you're like, "What the hell is he painting? What is that?" And so you just want to stick around for the end just to see what the product is. I was locked in. I can't.
What was number one?
Devil Wears Prada.
Okay. All right.
But the funny part was,
I mean, dude, that's why lists are like, the other day we were on the radio and Greg Silver was asking me about Rich Eisen putting the 49ers in his top 10 list or top 5 list of teams right now. And I'm like, I don't care. Who cares? List or list. That's why it's so.
Guy, Derek. I'm with Greg Silver on that. Not with you.
Greg Silver wasn't in on it either. He was part of the. It was really John Curley producing it, being like, "Hey, let's talk about this list." And I'm like, I get it. It's good radio banter, but like, I like Rich, but I really don't care about his lists. Who cares? He's just one man.
What did John Curley say? He put the 49ers at number 4. Is that fair or foul?
No, they were number 1. They were number 1.
Number 1.
And my thing was, If it's Daniel Jeremiah doing it, then I'm like, okay, that's interesting. If it's Greg Cosell, even more interesting. When it's guys that actually break down the game, that's where my intrigue and tennis come up. But when it's like, if it's Nick Wright or Coward doing it, I'm like, I don't care. Who cares? If I made a top 10 list, who gives a shit?
It's true.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
Well, we're doing our first podcast of the new year 2026. Happy New Year to you, Stephen. This is the cutoff day, according to Larry David. You can't say Happy New Year after this day on the third day of the new year.
Okay, but what if I come into work on Monday and I haven't seen people and they just so happen to be in the New Year spirit and they say Happy New Year?
You got to tell them, hey, asshole, do you not know the cutoff date?
I'm not doing that.
Okay, well, I will. I'll be that guy for you. But I do want to talk about something that happened on New Year's Eve. Did you watch this festivities, I guess, of Ryan Seacrest? Formerly, it was Dick Clark who did it for years.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of that, or no? You don't care?
No,
okay, I don't care either.
So here's the thing: we didn't watch any. We were out. We went to dinner and then went to a new place that opened up here in Alameda. So we didn't watch any TV with the volume on. But if I were to choose, we're watching Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, through the years, I guess that's been the more entertaining one where they do shots live on the air. Anderson Cooper, squeals, just be like,
It's really funny.
No, I've seen the clip. It's funny. Do they still do that same thing every year? The same bit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But after a few tequila shots, the giggles start coming out of Anderson Cooper. It's great.
He lines up a little bit. The clip that I saw the most after New Year's Eve was Scott Van Pelt taking the live feed of ABC's coverage. I guess it was Ryan Seacrest of the ball dropping in New York City. Do you have the clip, Steven? Do you have it?
I'll get it up.
Okay. So Scott Van Pelt, he's a sports guy, really big sports guy. I love his stuff on the Sports Center midnight show. Bad Beats, just his interview style. I think he's very laid back. Big golf guy, big college football guy.
I'm gonna pull the one clip where it's just people watching on TV. Because there's one where it's this dude who's clearly like a social media grifter who is just saying like, yeah, you should be repulsed by this.
Okay.
The actual video.
So I'm
gonna pull up another one.
Okay, so here's Scott Van Pelt. They're taking the live feed of the ball dropping on ABC, and he's just reacting to it in real time.
Yeah, live makeouts on Sports Center. Get into it. Oh, what do we got? We got love in the air.
Oh, wow, bro.
Tony and Mike on kazoos. Who's having a good time? Happy New Year, everybody.
Okay. So for the podcast audience, they do live shots of people making out in Times Square, and happens to be two men kissing. And then Scott Van Pelt, some people are like he was repulsed. I don't think he was repulsed at all. Okay. And some people are saying like, oh, that's very offensive. Or some people are being like, yeah, good for him. Say that it was disgusting. Look, I think everybody's overreacting. I think that Scott Van Pelt is a 50-year-old man about to be 60. And some things are just different these days. And not saying that he was against it by any means. He was just not expecting to see that. And he, like a pro on television, flipped it instantly. So I know some people are making a big deal out of it, and it shouldn't be because it was just something that was caught on television. We make a big deal about it on social media. I think it's fine. I think that I think he was just caught off guard, honestly, and it's not that big of a deal, honestly. I don't.
Look, man, I dare anyone to go on live television and do what he was doing. Like, if you've ever been caught by surprise live on the radio, or with anything where you're speaking publicly. Like, I remember, it's not the same thing at all, but I was on the microphone doing rally commissioner stuff in high school, and we did this like event at the end for seniors where we're all gathered in like the local theater hall, and we're showing baby pictures of everybody. And then, it's like, who is this baby? Blah, blah, blah. And there was one of me, and I didn't know how to react to it because I didn't know it was me. Oh, thank you. Switching coffee. Thank you so much. One mug and another mug ready.
There you go.
I'm like Mike Francesa. I just watched that clip of Mad Dog after the 2003 playoffs, the Mad Dog Russo clip, the viral
Giants
one
and Marlins.
where he goes off on the Giants. He says, just one time. I don't need 20.
Jeff Kent. Or no, JT Snow. Does he call off JT Snow?
Yeah. He's like, but I don't need JT. I don't have a problem with JT. But one hidden gem in that clip is as Mike Francesa is cracking up, he finishes an entire cup of Diet Coke and he has another one just at the ready.
Now that's power, my friend.
He finishes the Diet Coke, throws it away, throws away the lid, then has just another one ready, a big old cup like it's from a fast food restaurant of just Diet Coke ready to guzzle. But anyway, I just dare anyone to be put in that situation live on television. Whoa. Like, I don't know. It's Scott Van Pelt did not, if you would have seen the comments that would have rained down on that section, you would have thought that Scott Van Pelt was like, oh, no, not allowing that here. Turn that off.
Yeah, seriously. He wasn't like condemning it by any means. I think that he was just caught off guard. It was two people making out, and we're in a new day and age, and he just was instant reaction, not saying like, ew, like what are we doing here? He was just like, oh, okay, all right. And I don't think it's that big of a deal.
And can the people, if it's people who, don't consume sports media that are calling for him to be taken off Sports Center, that's okay. Whatever. If you don't watch it, that's fine. But can we not do this for the one guy in sports media who's like unanimously beloved?
Yeah. And he's a very open-minded individual. I just think that he was caught off guard and wasn't expecting to see that. But you know what? Whatever. It wasn't like he was like, ew, I'm going to throw up in a trash can. Like, relax, everybody. Relax.
Yeah. It was like Sam Rockwell's reaction in Galaxy Quest when he saw Tony Shalhoub and the alien kissing.
Or Walton Goggins listening to Sam Rockwell in what's that show, White Lotus, and he's like, yeah, okay,
yeah. Just speechless. That would have been even worse on Scott Van Pelt's part. Like,
if he did that, yes, 100%.
I think he saved it. I don't know.
He did. It's live TV. Shit happens. Whatever. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think people are making that big of a deal of it, but I saw on social media on New Year's Day, and I was like, all right, relax, everyone. Relax.
Yeah. Then also there's the one guy that I did not want to, whose tweet I didn't want. His name's John Root, and he's just one of those guys who's just a total contrarian on social media and is trying to turn America into this 1950s hellscape that it used to be. It's just too much.
Yeah. I think people were like, yeah, Scott Van Pelt's on my side. Like, no, dude, no, he's not. He saw something and he reacted and like, let's move on. And then New Year's Day happened and we got some bowl games. Some very crappy bowl games, some blowouts, but entertaining ones as well. I thought the Miami and Ohio State game was fun to see Miami go back to the old days of when they were dominant in the 80s and early 2000s. So now they're playing in the second round against Ole Miss, and that was, man, the Ole Miss upset. That was awesome to see. And Lane Kiffin tweeting on the side, being like, yeah, good for them. Like, dude, just go away. Focus on LSU. But I was shocked.
The women's basketball game you're at. He was at the college basketball game, right? Support your school.
Exactly. And tweeting out photos of his children and wife to kind of shield him from the hate. But good for Ole Miss, man. The most improbable playoff victory in, I guess, college football ever. But for them to go into the postseason without their head coach and to have a first-time head coach ever in playoff games, like, it's easy to beat Tulane. But to face Georgia, who's dominated Ole Miss for a long-ass time, good on them, man. That was a very fun game to watch. Probably the best game of the college football playoff series so far.
So Skills says college, I'm out. And to be honest, that's how
we're getting there. Hold on. We're getting there, Skills. Hang on.
That's how I mostly am with college football, because the blowouts are just too much. Like, once I saw it in the first couple of games with Oregon and Texas Tech, like, I was going to turn it on.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
And I was in the morning. I was watching it in the morning, and then I was just like, you want to watch something else? Like, we got the Stranger Things finale that we can watch. And so we watched that instead. Then the next game, turned it on for a bit, watched some of Fernando Mendoza. It went to halftime. And then I was like, I don't feel like this game's going to go anywhere. I'll check back with ESPN to see if it's actually close or competitive. But if not, I'm just going to turn on a movie. So I just started turning on Accepted for whatever reason, or not Accepted, Waiting for whatever reason.
Okay.
The old Ryan Reynolds and Justin Long.
Where was
movie.
that in your top 25 rewatchable list?
Oh, it's definitely not. But it's, I don't know. It's whatever. And then I saw like the score was just getting that much worse. So I didn't even tune back in the second half. But Georgia Ole Miss, watched that entire thing. And that's what college football is about.
Yeah.
Like, it's two conference rivals from the SEC going toe to toe. Like, it looked like Georgia was going to run away with it when it was like 21-12. I figured that was all right. This is the time where they're going to get one more score. They're going to go up by 2 touchdowns, and it's going to be really hard for Ole Miss to come back. But God, both quarterbacks just slinging it, man. Gunnar Stockton, the amount of pain that he was just taking, the hits. God, this guy's tough. I was looking to see whether he's like an NFL prospect, and he's not. Maybe if he was a little bit bigger, he would be. But just like, God, that toughness, that's something you can't teach, man. You can't teach that. Then Trinidad Chambliss was awesome. Except,
he was awesome.
They sorry, I'm rambling, but every time ESPN like cut to the parents, it was always showing 2 people in front of the parents, and Sean McDonough was really trying to save it because the ESPN camera people just couldn't get a clear shot of his parents in the stands. Did you see that?
I didn't, but I will say Sean McDonough owned that game. He was fantastic, and I made fun of him in the past. My dad's old college roommate, I always make fun of him for the Derek Johnson. He's going to score all the way. And his voice, cracked, but he definitely was magnetic in the call of that game. No, and then like for whatever reason, Kirby Smart going for that, what was it, 4th and 5 on his own 25-yard line?
Yeah,
that essentially lost him the game, in my opinion. You're kind of getting back in the game. You want to make a big time decision there, but I thought the fake punt was good enough earlier on, and then to do that, I thought it was just a costly mistake. But that was the best game of the college football playoffs so far. Earlier in the day, the Texas Tech Oregon game was unwatchable. Texas Tech's defense was all over Oregon, but the offense couldn't do diddly poo. And then Dante Moore, I understand where people see the talent, but he just does not see the field. There was multiple times where he had a guy wide open on a 4th and 1 and went somewhere else, incomplete or throwing a bad interception. So in the conversation of who should go first overall, if the Raiders have the first overall pick, and we'll find that out tomorrow against the Chiefs, I would lean the direction of Fernando Mendoza right now, because that guy in this game was a blowout with Indiana and Alabama. But, man, he's got a little Brock Purdy in him where he's just so decisive with the football, knows exactly where to go, and just the efficient way that he was completing passes. He ended up the day 14 of 16 for 192 yards and 3 touchdown passes. And I think in the past I had the wrong words to describe him in his post-game press conferences or post-game interviews where I said he was disingenuous or just kind of phony. No, I'd say he's not that. He's just cheesy. He's cheesy. That's him. He's the genuine article. But as far as, is he going to galvanize our locker room, or is he like one of the guys? This is where I think some guys are going to roll their eyes.
History this season. Why? What is so special about you in this group?
Well, first of all, my team and I want to give all the glory to God. What a historic venue, the Rose Bowl, one of the best venues in all of sports. It's just a great conglomerate of individuals coming together and really forming complementary football. Coach Shig has hit on us, no complacency. And especially when you have a bye, it's tough to get in the rhythm of football. But once we got our feet on the ground, we knew that we're going to stick together and come out with this W.
It took you a second. The opening series, you get sacked twice. You have to...
Real quick, just the TV broadcaster look back at the camera every now and then while you're talking to the person who's hosting. That's classic. Watch any pregame broadcast. Joe Buck awkwardly looks back at the camera just to, as if you're involved. Troy Aikman will do the same as well. Fernando Mendoza does that. It's maybe the first player I've seen who does that, who actually looks into the camera talking to the audience.
Hunt, I just saw Alabama defensive linemen coming over and hyping you up about how good you were today. How did you figure it out quickly?
Yeah, first of all, Alabama's super classy program, one of the most prestigious programs in the SEC. Shout out to them. They did a fantastic job. However, it's us coming together. And, like I said, the month off, it's kind of like, hey, we got to get our feet wet. Once we get our feet wet, once we get the ball rolling, we're able to hit it in stride and able to put plays together, put, first downs together, and then put points on the board.
What?
I'm so honored and blessed to be a part of this team, this sports staff, and this coaching staff, and I can't thank God enough for this.
Just quickly, what are your early thoughts on a rematch with Oregon, a team you've already beaten this season?
That's the first time I actually heard that Oregon won. It's got locked into the game. However, Oregon, fantastic Big Ten opponent.
However,
we went over there, and it's really hard to beat a team twice. Oregon, Dante Moore, Dan Lanning, and their defense coordinator, Lupoy, new head coach Akami. Those guys are legit, and so I think it's going to be a great matchup. Can't wait to play some good football against that. I think it's going to be a great matchup. All respect to them. I mean, I got to get the game plan. You got to get to watching film now.
look at that. He's just staring at you.
Yeah, he's cheesy, but I think that's who he is.
But
That's just
it's authentic.
It is, but I think I was listening to Chris Long the other day on his podcast talk about should this guy be first overall? He goes, I guess he's not an all-time talent, but I got to believe that some guys in the locker room will be making fun of him all the time for the way he speaks.
Maybe, but the thing that worries me, it's not that. It's not the, leader of men. It's not that. It's not any of that.
Okay.
It's more that this run that Indiana is on, it's almost more about Kurt Signetti and the job that he's done with his program, going 24-2 in the regular season and now 25-2, getting a Heisman Trophy winner up there as your quarterback and potentially having him drafted first overall. I watched him at Cal. I didn't see this guy at Cal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the intangibles, the leadership, the decision making, but I do worry that there's a part of me that thinks, actually a big part of me that thinks, if he gets drafted, say to the Raiders first overall, it's just not the right system for him because they're just not set up right now. I don't know who's going to be calling the offense. They don't have any identity. When Kyle Shanahan came to the 49ers, you knew that you had an offensive mastermind. When Sean McVay went to the Rams, you knew that he could work with any quarterback. When I'm not going to say Mike McDonald because he's way more of a defensive guy, but Mike McDonald's having a hell of a year as a head coach too. I'm trying to think. Ben Johnson, you put him with a first overall pick with first overall talent that they're going to thrive. That's where I'm kind of skeptical on the Raiders drafting him. It's not so much the player, but it's more the system that he's put in. It feels like he has to be put in the right system first. And I go back to that Kevin O'Connell quote where he said that it's not quarterbacks that fail organizations, it's organizations that fail quarterbacks. And it seems like the Raiders organization fails any player that steps into their midst.
I'm with you, Stephen, and I'm glad you're bringing up all those names because in order for Fernando Mendoza to have success at the NFL level, he needs a Kyle Shanahan. He needs a Sean McVay. He needs a Mike McDaniel, Ben Johnson type. And I'll get to that in a little bit here. But just watching him, yes, when you see him play, he doesn't have generational talent. He's not a Trevor Lawrence. He's not a Caleb Williams. He's not an Andrew Luck. And does it make sense to get a quarterback if you're not going to have that type of player first overall if the Raiders get that first overall pick tomorrow? And I was talking about it with Alon. I was texting after the game, and I was like, what do you think about Fernando Mendoza? And he was like, I don't like him. I think the Raiders need to prioritize offensive line and defensive line and get the quarterback later. And I'm like, yes, I agree with you. They need a whole hell of a lot. But this is a position that they've neglected for quite some time and just try to find the quick fix. After Derek Carr, it's been, let's go out and get Jimmy Garoppolo because Garoppolo knows the system very well from Josh McDaniels, knowing him in his time with New England, or Gardner Minshew, or Geno Smith. And Geno, I thought at first was going to be solid for the Raiders, but in reality, I had trepidation about Geno Smith when he was the Seahawks quarterback. I thought that he was going to get benched for Sam Howell at some point. He's just a turnover machine. So if he doesn't have a good offensive line and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, then he's not going to be good. I think Geno Smith should be a backup quarterback. And honestly, if the Raiders go in the direction of drafting a quarterback, then it makes no sense to have Geno on the roster anymore. So I think Geno Smith probably has played his last football with the Raiders. And I know he just signed a $40 million contract, but I always said that it's a contract they can get out of. So I would hope that someone would trade for him, but I highly doubt that. I think they should just release Geno Smith after this season.
Right.
And we've been talking about this for the longest time. They need to go get it like a Michael Penix or somebody to start over again. Somebody that can compete with a Justin Herbert or a Patrick Mahomes or a Bo Nix. You need to find your first-round draft pick at quarterback. And then, yes, you're probably going to be bad for the first season. He's probably going to get beat up like Cam Ward or Caleb Williams, but you need to find that guy and build around him. You have pieces. You have Ashton Genty, you have Brock Bowers, but you need to find that franchise-changing quarterback. Is Fernando Mendoza that guy? I do not know, but I do think the Raiders need somebody like that. I don't know if it is particularly Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore, but if they do have the first overall pick, I do think they need to get a quarterback, and they do need to get an offensive play caller when it comes to the head coach. So I know last time I said Brian Flores and maybe Robert Saleh, but really thinking about it, I think that they need to go get Clint Kubiak as their head coach. And he's a name that's been brought up a little bit when it comes to the Raiders. Obviously, his father, being the Super Bowl winning coach of the Denver Broncos and the offensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos for years with Mike Shanahan. But they need that type of guy. They need a Ben Johnson that Tom Brady wanted so badly last offseason. And I don't think he gets a lot of publicity because he's with the Seahawks, and I don't hear him in interviews that much. But his name has been through head coaching circles for a while now. Not head coaching circles, but as far as like coaching circles, offensive coordinator with the New Orleans Saints, and then this year with the Seattle Seahawks. We'll see what he does tonight with the Seahawks against the 49ers. But the Raiders need that type of guy where Kyle Shanahan years ago got to the 49ers, trying to find his quarterback, settled on Jimmy Garoppolo, and he built that team up. Ben Johnson just has first-year success already with getting a first-round draft pick of Caleb Williams and trying to prioritize the offensive line and free agency and trades. And that's where I think Clint Kubiak could be really good for the Raiders. I think that Ashton Genty would be good in his running scheme. I think that that's the route they need to go. So I know that there needs to be a lot done with the Raiders, whether, as far as the offensive line and the receiving core and the defense in general. But I think if you get Clint Kubiak as your head coach, you try to find a good former head coach as your defensive coordinator, Fernando Mendoza as your first overall pick, I'm feeling better about the situation. I think it's an improvement from where they were a year ago.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let me throw this out there for you, though. What about, and I was trying to look this up because I agree with you. I like that idea. I think they need to find a coach before we really start thinking about the roster. But with that being said, like, what would you think if they did end up trading that first overall pick and treating this like the Chicago Bears?
When the Bears had Justin Fields?
When the Bears, yes, and it was 2023, and they traded their first overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. Then they got a bevy of draft picks that I think would just completed this season. And look where the Bears are at now. Like, I wonder if that's a possibility too. I mean, is there?
Yeah,
I don't know. Arch Manning. I mean, is he going to be available next year? And he looked pretty damn good.
Yeah, that would be good if they got Arch Manning. And Arch has definitely got into his own. He's better than what he was at the beginning of the season. He's just more comfortable. I think there was at one point during the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl where he was on the sideline saying, now I just stopped giving a fuck. And that's where I think he settled in. Yeah, I think Arch Manning would be 10 times better than Fernando Mendoza. If that's how they feel.
I just think we don't have to like discuss that part now. I just think if the Raiders are in a situation where they can potentially get even more draft picks, where it feels like they're in kind of this full reset right now, where they don't have much goal for them moving forward. Like, if you tell me, much like the Bears, if trading the first overall pick can net you a playoff position maybe 2 years later, then I guess I'm okay with that, because even 2 years from now, I can't envision the Raiders being in a good playoff spot.
Well, again, if they made this move for Fernando Mendoza, I'm not expecting them to be a playoff contender in year one, but they just need that type of guy. They need a franchise quarterback, and not any more of, Minshew or Geno or Jimmy Garoppolo, or maybe Aiden O'Connell could be that guy. Right. And who knows if they have that opportunity again with having the first overall pick potentially this time around. Yeah. Yes, you can say, well, next year we'll go get a quarterback. I think Arch Manning is going to be the consensus first overall pick in 2027. No doubt about it in my mind. Yeah. So are you lucky enough, or not lucky enough, but are you, I guess, unfortunate enough again to be the worst team in football and get that first overall pick? You can't bank on that. So is it now where you need to go get that guy? Is Fernando Mendoza good enough? Yeah. I don't know.
The Bears also got really, really lucky, right?
They got extremely lucky. I mean, so that's where I think that I don't know about Fernando Mendoza. I need to watch him more, but I do think that Clint Kubiak should be that guy. The more I think about it, that Tom Brady had his heart set on Ben Johnson, and in the end, Ben Johnson was like, "You don't have a quarterback for me. It makes much more sense for me to go to Chicago." And I'm sure Brady was pissed off about that. He had to settle on Pete Carroll, and that has not turned out well whatsoever. So I think they want that type again. I do think that they want an offensive play caller that can build this team up, and that's the way teams are winning right now. Yes, Dan Campbell's had success.
That's the thing.
We'll see about Mike McDonald, but the truth is the best teams in football are run with offensive play callers, and then you get a former head coach to be your defensive coordinator. That's the formula that usually wins, and that's what I think the Raiders should do. Now, also, you see Mike Silver's article about how Tom Brady needs to be more out there as the face of the Raiders. I love Mike. I disagree with that one. I don't think that the success of the Raiders is contingent on Tom Brady kind of taking the bull by the horns and being the face of the organization. It's not on him. He really is just a minority owner. He's going to come in every now and then to give you ideas or to give you his evaluation on potentially a quarterback or who the head coach should be. But as far as the day in and day out stuff, it's clear that he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be a broadcaster. And the NFL has said he could do both. I have no issue with that right now. But to expect him to, be the face of a press conference, to sit right next to Mark Davis and be like, this is the reason why we're firing Pete Carroll, I don't expect that. That needs to be John Spytek. That is on him.
That's what
he
I'm
needs
saying.
to be the face of the organization going forward.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think we can expect Tom Brady to be that guy. I think that it just needs to be on the GM, the guy that Tom Brady picked to be the ultimate evaluator of the success of the Raiders going forward.
I agree. Like, I want him to even choose the head coach. Like, I think he'd make the right decision. Like, I believe in if there's anyone in the organization that I still believe in, it's Spytek. Like Pete Carroll, okay, but he was not given a great roster to deal with in the first place, no matter how much he talked it up in his mind that they would win games. It wasn't great what they had set up for him already. And I don't know if that would have been Spytek's first choice. I really don't. I think he had like a lot of respect for him. But with everything that was being reported around the Raiders and their hiring of Spytek, that he's this next up-and-coming kind of scouting genius who understands players. Look what he put together with the Buccaneers. Like, I just find it hard to believe that it's just one and done. This guy's not going to be a good general manager. Whereas the Pete Carroll thing, I think he just got way too cocky. He got way too cocky with what he was seeing on the field and just wasn't ready for the competition that he was going to face during the regular season. And that's in part why he has said 18 different times that he's surprised by what happened this season.
Yeah, I got tired of that real quick. And I think that it was a weird arranged marriage from the get-go. I never like it when you hire the head coach and then you hire the GM separately.
Right.
And then you expect it to make it work. Like you and I were talking about it the day of the press conference where John Spytek, new at this job, 44 years old, is talking about his resume, and Pete's just sitting next to him, be like, "That's nice, buddy. Nice. Good for you." And I'm like, I don't know about this. And who's making the final call? When I read Mike Silver's article, he was trying to find out who made the final decision on Max Crosby. It doesn't sound like anybody in particular was the main guy that said, okay, Max Crosby needs to be shut down for the remaining two games. And honestly, I know I didn't, say this in the last podcast. I have no issue with them doing this. I think that Max Crosby's kind of being a little ridiculous. Yeah, because I get it. He wants to play, but they're also 2-14, and they are trying to get the first overall pick. And a lot of teams do this. And it would be weird if he didn't have an injury, but the guy does have a bad knee right now, and they want that to be healed. They want him to get that done right now.
Yeah.
I know that Miles is waiting on us, and we'll get to him. Can we play the Max Crosby clip real quick?
Hang on.
With Jim Gray on the podcast, because this happened right after you and I signed off on the podcast last Tuesday, where you and I were waiting on a podcast for Max Crosby, his own podcast, The Rush, I guess it's called. But he does that weekly one with Jim Gray.
Hang on.
And he was very.
I'm not ready. Hang on, I'm not ready. Did you DM me this?
I'm filibustering, but the whole thing with Max Crosby. Again, Mike Silver saying that this was another bad move by the Raiders to shut him down, and I disagree with that too. Yeah. I don't think it's a bad move. I understand it. So anyway, here is Max Crosby on with Jim Gray discussing him being sent home for the last two games of the regular season.
On IR. your season's complete. If we're to believe reports, there will be some sort of surgery and your knee is hobbled. How are you feeling?
I'm honestly doing phenomenal. I'm here at the facility. I have a lot of thoughts and emotions, but I'm focused on putting the work in and be with my teammates. At the end of the day, I love being with my guys. That's it. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm doing great though. Happy. That's all I can say on that.
So it's good that he's back at the facility, but it's clear he's pissed off about the decision. And I'm sure we're going to get reports that maybe he's, deciding on his future and maybe he'll push for a trade. Who knows? I don't think the Raiders should trade Max Crosby. I don't. I think it's the same situation as Myles Garrett where, maybe in hindsight, the Browns should have, but they held ground on that and they gave him a new contract. And now he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year and 1 sack away from history. With Max Crosby, yes, you could get a bounty of picks and you could reset your organization, but I'd rather have him on the roster and have a Max Crosby than go find another Max Crosby. It's the same situation as Khalil Mack. I would be a hypocrite if I came on here and said they need to trade Max Crosby, and I did a couple years ago at the trade deadline when Aiden Hutchinson went down. I thought the Lions should trade for him. But now it'd be the same move. It would be, all right, well, let's go out and trade him, and then we'll try to find a guy to replace him. And it's just a never-ending cycle where you have a Hall of Fame player potentially, and Max Crosby, who knows? And you're just going to trade him away like that? I think it's better to keep him on the roster, find everything else, and just try to win with the guys you have in Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, Max Crosby. Build around that and find your franchise quarterback.
Diana Rossini out here, though. League sources.
Yeah, I know.
League sources think that they believe the Raiders would be open to moving Max Crosby.
And again, I like Diana, but she's talking about people that are not in the Raiders organization. All I care about is John Spytek and Mark Davis saying they're going to trade Max Crosby. That's all I care about.
Yeah, but league sources believe it, Derek.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, all right, let's break down this 49ers Seahawks game. Huge game tonight. Let's bring in somebody that I haven't talked to in a long-ass time. Used to be a producer at 95.7 The Game, and now he does a football podcast, right, Steven? I'm going off of the last show you guys did.
I don't know. Ask him. He's right here.
All right. Ryan Mauser joins us. What's up, Ryan?
What's going on? Long time no talk. Looking great. Steve, how's it going? Love the hat.
Thanks. Yeah. Hop grenade, dude. Bring him back into dusting off an oldie.
So
Hop
plug the
grenade,
podcast,
yeah, it's been a minute. The podcast is done for right now. Had issues pop up with the co-host, so I'm just in a standing period and just living out in Seattle. Let's go.
There you go, man. Supporting the Hawks. So what's life like been? What's life been like since you've gone to Seattle?
Oh, it's lovely out here. I mean, it's a little wet, so that was to be expected.
We're kind of used to that over here too, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So it was raining this morning pretty good, but we got the sun coming out, so it's perfect football weather.
And all right, so we'll get to it. So hang on. Before we get to the Seahawks 49er thing, Pete Carroll, your thoughts?
I love him. Obviously, greatest coach in our history. Mike Holmgren still will be neck and neck right there. I mean, one got us the Super Bowl, so I'm more lean with Pete, but Mike should be in the Hall of Fame is one thing that still drives me crazy. It never made sense that he went to the Raiders. I never understood it. You bring in the oldest guy for a team that's rebuilding. Did you expect, especially in one of the toughest divisions with Mahomes, Herbert, and Bo Nix apparently, but it never made sense to me that he was going there. I don't see how he's not one and done though.
Yeah, I would agree. I think tomorrow they're going to lose. They get the first overall pick, and then Black Monday will roll around, and he won't be the head coach anymore. I thought it made sense at the time, Ryan, just because you have three other great coaches in that division. You got to go up against Andy Reid and Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh. But did you think it came across a little desperate of Pete because he got axed in Seattle and he didn't want to go out like that, where people thought he was the old man, where, all right, I'm going to go out on my terms. I want to go to the Raiders and prove to people I can still coach again.
Yeah, it was very, very much I'm not done yet was the mindset he had. And it was like, oh, if you're going to give me an opportunity, I don't blame him for taking it. You go, hey, there's only 32 NFL jobs. You're going in, you're thinking, I took over a Seattle team that was not good and brought them back and was able to, but you were also 15 years younger. There was those lower expectations of, hey, you're coming into Seattle who has not been great. But now you're going to the Raiders, who was even worse, and you're going, all right, well, now you're facing legends in that division, and you're expected to bring in Geno Smith. It felt like he was trying to replicate Seattle from 2 years ago and just go, give me my guys, Jamal Adams, Geno Smith. Now I knew Tyler Lockett when he became a free agent. I was like, oh, he's gonna end up in Vegas. And
Destiny.
it was one of those to where the last few years of his time with Seattle were shaky, and you were looking and going, it needed a change. And the Raiders, to me, it just did not seem like a good fit.
Derek, what did you say, Derek, when he got hired, that you were surprised it's a 3-year deal because Pete's not going to be around much longer?
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Yeah, it's
Damn.
We'll see. He's 73 years old, and I get it's a 3-year contract. And he was saying from the get-go, I want to win right now. I'm like, Pete, I don't know, bro. I don't know. This is a long process. 3 years.
Have you
is like
seen
a
the
long
team
time.
for the last few years? You're winning now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And, to be respectful to Pete, yeah, he's 73 years old. He's a young 73. But, yeah, that's part of it, too, where I'm like, damn, that's a long time. And I get why they wanted Robert Saleh to be the coach in waiting, too. But I think Saleh's going to have other opportunities. I think that maybe Tennessee's more enticing to him to have Cam Ward as his quarterback and not have to see who's going to be the quarterback with the Raiders. But we brought you in to talk Niners and Seahawks, Ryan. So what are your thoughts on the Seahawks this season?
Man, it's been an incredible year. Considering coming into the season, Seahawks odds were lowest in the division to win, which was crazy to me considering we were 1 game away from the playoffs last year. But this has truly been Mike McDonald just coming in and putting his culture. There was so much talk coming into it that he took down some photos in the offices and put up some other stuff around the building, and people were freaking out going, I was trying to get rid of Pete and take away that legacy. It's no. When you're coming into a new program, you have to establish your own culture. You can go off of what the other guy had set up, but to truly get your style in there, you have to do it your way. And that's what he's done. And him and John Schneider have been hand in hand perfect together. I think John Schneider's executive of the year, the moves he's made in the offseason and the deadline, getting Shaheed, who changed the game against the Rams that I was at, and best game I've ever been at.
Damn.
So it's been a crazy year, and we just got one more game to top off the regular season and then focus on the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay, real quick, Ryan, you were at that Thursday night game with the Rams and Seahawks?
I was, yeah.
Just what was it like? That
Crazy,
to me,
dude.
that felt like a playoff game, a complete shootout. Did you expect Sam Darnold to come back down? What was it, 30-14?
Oh, man. It was after he threw the red zone pick, and I think it was not Jared Verse, but it was one of the linemen picked him off. People left. There were people that got up and left, and there was a gentleman and his young son in front of us that were sitting there, and the dad was like, okay, you ready to go? And the kid went, hell no, we're not leaving. We're not going. And so it was one of those, as things just started going, you're like, all right, the punt happens. And the crazy 2-point conversion that none of us in the stadium had any idea what was going on. It was the weirdest thing of we're sitting there or standing. I didn't sit the entire game, but we're going there. You're standing, and all of a sudden they stop everything, and it's taking a little bit longer than normal. And you can't hear anything in there is the problem. So the ref is trying to tell people what's going on. They're looking, and then they show it on the Jumbotron, and you're like, oh, well, that thing did go backwards. And then when they made the announcement, it erupted, and that's where it really felt like, oh, here we go. But props to Sam Darnold for rallying, because it was looking more like the Sam Darnold that we have been fearful of. And what fears me today is, which Sam do we get? Can he get? But that one really felt like he got a monkey off his back. The Rams had given him problems last year. Was the 2 big losses, the playoff game and that Sunday night football game in LA. So it was a good one for him to get off his back. And now you got another team that he knows well. Can he do it again?
Yeah. Was that a situation? Because so I went to the 49ers Jaguars game at Levi's Stadium. And by halftime, as I was going to the bathroom, you already had people calling for Mac Jones. You already had people just dumb with Purdy at that point, which they look stupid right now because he's playing probably the best football that he's played these last 3 games.
Best football of anyone right now, I'd say.
Yeah, honestly. But they were also calling for Mac Jones. Like, did you hear people kind of murmuring about
no,
about
because
Sam
it's Drew Lock is behind him, so it wasn't necessarily pushing for anyone else to come in. It was just like, Sam, are you kidding me? You're killing us again. And
Jalen Milroe's not going to save the day here.
No, that's 2 more years. Give Jalen season up. But it was never calling for Sam's job. It was more just like, oh, here we go again with this guy.
Damn.
So as for today, I mean, you said that Brock Purdy's playing the best football out of anybody in football right now, and I would agree. I think that he's on a different level right now. I am extremely skeptical of the 49ers defense. I don't think it's sustainable to win this way, where they could outscore everybody 42-38 in playoff games. And I think that the Seahawks have a good defense. I think their offense at times starts slow and then they turn things on, but they figure things out, like the game last week against the Carolina Panthers, the game against the Atlanta Falcons earlier this year where they were down 6-6 at halftime.
6-6 at halftime. Yeah.
And then even the game against the Colts, they didn't score a touchdown, but Sam Darnold was clutch right before the game against the Rams. He was great in that game to come back, but he won the game on a game-winning field goal drive that had them secure the victory. So as far as this matchup, what stands out to you, Ryan, when it comes to the 49ers and Seahawks?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to, can we run the ball? It's early on in the season, could not run the ball. We had K9, Charbonnet, and you're going, we can't do anything. The offensive line can't get any momentum going towards it. But these last 5 games, I think it is, we've been averaging about 125 yards rushing. So you're going, all right, we can move the ball now. It's the pace that JSN was never going to be sustainable because he was on pace to break Calvin Johnson's record. He's cooled off now. I still think he should be one of the top 2 for offensive player of the year, him and Christian McCaffrey, probably, I'd say. If not one of them winning MVP, maybe CMC winning MVP, but that's probably because it's a quarterback award. It's going to go to probably Drake May because of Matthew Stafford's performance on Monday night.
Yeah.
But the main thing is, can you just not turn the ball over? And that's Sam Darnold's career, is take care of the ball. You look at the loss to the Niners week 1. It was Nick Bosa stripping him. Otherwise, Seattle had a chance to win the game right there. You look at the game versus Tampa Bay that they lost. It was a Sam Darnold turnover that hits off a helmet, and then there's another one that gets picked off to end the game. And then the Rams game where he had 4 turnovers, and yet you were still within a 61-yard field goal from winning that game after 4 turnovers. The key to it is, can Sam protect the ball? Can we make sure that you're not forcing this really good defense into short yardage against a really hot offense?
I was going through social media a while ago. I'd say middle of the season. Seems Seahawks fans don't like your tackle, Abe Lucas.
No. We like Abe Lucas.
Who's it you don't like?
Bradford is the guard.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Anthony Bradford. So
Anthony
is
Bradford
this offensive line susceptible to a pass rush? I got the wrong player. Are they susceptible to a pass rush that's seemingly been non-existent these last couple of weeks?
It's weird because you're looking at it. Bradford will have these moments, and he's better with the run when he's allowed to just go downhill and push over guys. He had against the Panthers a one-armed through Derek Brown, which was awesome and surprised the hell out of me because he's been getting a lot of shit from people. But we're missing Charles Cross. Charles Cross is not going to play, so we're missing our left tackle. Pretty sure Trent Williams as well will be out for today, but still waiting the official word on that. I think it is, but yeah. So both left tackle. Gray Zabel has been one of the best rookies that we got. It was phenomenal to get him, and so he's kind of stabilized that spot. Sundell, who dealt with an injury against the Rams, he's been playing well. But it's the main thing is, can you protect Sam? Can Sam get the ball out and just don't panic? There's so many times where Sam's mobile, like Purdy. He credits so much of his growth to Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. And so it's, if you're getting pressured, go ahead and step up, move around. Don't get that whole, I got to get this ball out of here and make the mistake is the one thing I'm worried about.
I got one more. Hang on, Derek. I got one more. The Seahawks secondary. It seems like the 49ers have kind of beat up on them in years past. Like I always think about like before he became Reek, just Tariq Woolen.
Yeah.
I always think about that and how they've kind of had his number. But the secondary, I think they added another rookie who's the nickel corner. His name's escaping me right
Nick
now.
Eamon-Worry.
Yeah, apparently he's like extremely good.
Rookie of the year.
Yep, 100% he is.
And so where's the secondary at now compared to maybe where it was week 1 and prior to that?
Where it is now, see, and that's the funny thing is these games where it's you played week 1 against an opponent and now you're going all the way to the end of the season. How much can you take from that first matchup? Truly. Yeah. Because both of these teams, you have no Nick Bosa, you have no Fred Warner, and you're looking at it and you're going, all right, well, these teams have changed completely different, really, from where they were. But the secondary, I mean, it's healthy, which is the biggest thing for us, is that we're finally healthy, and it has so much depth to it. Because we dealt with Julian Love missing time, Devin Witherspoon missed 4 games. I think it was 4 games. Even Worry missed about 4 or 5 games. A lot of guys have had to step up. You're going to see Ty Akuda is going to be a name that watch out for, number 39 for the Seahawks, who's going to fill in and be out there. And you're just going, and everyone has had to step up. Reek Wolin, who for the first 5 weeks was the bane of the defensive fan base, was going after him. It was close that we thought he was going to get traded. And that first game against the Niners, where who was the Tongus got the touchdown over him to win it, and you had to play down the sideline where Reek should have picked it off and doesn't get it. But he's grown to where he might be re-signed this year, and I thought that was a foregone conclusion that he was going to walk. But it really comes down to Witherspoon is a missile. He is the best defense player in the secondary. But the leader of that defense that gets everything going is Big Cat. And that's the disruptive force, is that if the Niners can't protect Purdy from Big Cat and Byron Murphy, who has been the sophomore rise because he had a tough rookie year, it's going to be a long day for them.
Yeah, definitely. Along with if Trent Williams is not out there, and I don't think he's going to be, then DeMarcus Lawrence is
Tank Lawrence.
Yeah, we'll see if Austin Pleasance can match up well with him. But you mentioned JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Our reaction in the Bay Area was to Diamador Lenore calling him out, kind of like, yeah, good for Demo, and Kyle Shanahan liked it. I want to know what the Seattle perspective is on that, because he always seems to talk shit when it comes to him. But are they taking it as disrespect, and is this really bulletin board material for JSN?
Are you in the locker room, Mauser?
So JSN, yeah, I was there last week. They were feeling good, but JSN's a guy, and he said it himself. He's like, I talk shit when I'm down. I talk shit when I'm up. I'm just going to do that. And Lenore had the big things with DK. He was always, and DK's an easy guy to get under the skin, and unfortunately saw that with the fan in Detroit. But you're looking at it and go, JSN's just kind of cool, calm, and collected. You can talk all you want. He's going to give it back to you. He's going to do it, and he's just going to do what he does and produce. But it's one of those, like, okay, let's, as the fan, when we heard it, everyone that I've talked to is like, oh, fuck this guy. There's always someone in the rivalry that you're just like, can't stand that guy. Sherman, when he was over here with us, first Niners, was like, oh, everyone can't stand that guy. And Lenore has definitely filled that role pretty nicely. It was Bosa, just because Bosa was so good, but we thankfully don't have to see him this game.
Yeah, he don't talk. He don't talk at all. I'm going to give you one of the hardest hitting question. I guarantee you this question has not been asked within Seattle or San Francisco sports talk radio. So get ready.
All right, let's hear the Langford special.
What the hell happened to Jake Pobo's usage?
We have too many guys. Hey, but Bobo is there's going to be notes. We had drafted Torrey Horton, who unfortunately is probably going to IR and will miss the rest of the season. You brought in Cooper Kupp. It's just Bobo, and hey, people love Bobo out here. The women love Bobo. They think he's the hottest guy, is all I hear out here.
Damn, love Bobo.
Yeah, and the thing was more Bobo was what we had is more Bobo. We might need some more Bobo tonight, but the guy who I think has been stepped up the most, AJ Barner, who gets no recognition. The Barnyard, our version of the Tush Push. He's from Michigan, just one of those guys. We drafted Christian Arroyo, who dealt with injuries this year, to kind of help with the tight end. We let Noah Fant walk, and AJ Barner has been a revelation.
Is Rashid Shaheed still in concussion protocol for this game?
He's good to go.
He's good to go? Okay.
He's good to go.
So if this game turns out to be a shootout, like it was against the Rams or the way it's been for the 49ers the last few weeks, are you confident in the Seahawks having enough offensive firepower to go, score for score, or even Clint Kubiak having the play calling to match Kyle Shanahan?
You look at the Seahawks, and it's funny because everyone thinks like defense, especially with Mike McDonald, your defense head coach, but they found ways to win every type of game. You want it to be ugly and close against the Colts, where you're just going, hey, Phillip Rivers, you're going to have to just try and beat us, and we're not going to let you. We're just going to sit back, and you can have underneath. That got a little too close for them. I liked it. We shoot out with the Bucks, where we go in 38-35, and you're right in there. You score 40 against, who was it? The Vikings. You get 40 there. So they can score, and they can put up the points. And now what they've started to do is they've actually started to use Shaheed a lot more in the offense. You'll see him in some reverses, throwing downfield. But most of the time, what teams have been doing since we've gotten him is, hey, we're just going to sit back and we're not going to let you beat us over the top, because that's what they were doing early on. And it's, let's make you run the ball and let's do that. And the Seahawks and Clint Kubiak wants to run the ball. He wants to run the ball, set up the offense, do play action, get Sam under center and moving around. And I have confidence that no matter how the game goes, that it's not going to be like, oh, they're getting outmatched because they can't keep up the scoring with them. It's just a matter of don't give them the extra opportunities by turning it over and limiting yourself.
I mean, I was looking back at the first game, and it was interesting because these last two,
It seems like a lifetime ago.
for the 49ers,
It was.
like I texted Derek as soon as that first drive happened where they marched downfield on the Colts defense. I was like, it was just too easy, right? And it's like, okay, the 49ers kind of have their number there. It feels like they're just winning this game, even though Phillip Rivers kind of diced them up and they put up 27, whatever. Then against the Bears, he throws the pick six, but that was on the first play of the game, then comes back and they march downfield. I told Derek, I'm like, 49ers are going to win this game. Like, even though they didn't win it as easily as they did against the Colts.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about the Niners win over the Seahawks in the first game is they scored a touchdown. It was like a 14-play drive, I think, to open it up. And then for the rest, it was punt, 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 and they only scored one after that. And it wasn't really a high-scoring game. Like, do you see it more trending that way, where it's like the first scripted plays, essentially, are the ones where they might get the edge, and then when they have to improvise, like, that's when things might get a little, I don't know, boring offensively?
Yeah, it's interesting because you're looking at this and you're going, Kyle Shanahan, offensive genius, right? Everyone knows that. Everyone thinks and he should be in the running for coach of the year because of dealing with all these injuries and what he's done. But Mike McDonald is a defensive genius. And you're going, all right, now you're matching wits with these guys. And the fact that the things that really changed for Seattle was getting Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones doing that trade and getting him was able to do what he did with Baltimore when they got Roquan Smith. And it kind of like, okay, now I have my play caller. I have my guy who you're running the defense. You're getting everyone set up. And he's really, we saw it when Mike was in Baltimore, that Monday Night Football against the Niners. He had Purdy and them in cuffs. And it was a blowout. And you were going and you're thinking, all right, I'm not going to say that Mike McDonald's going to dial it up and we're going to shut out the Niners or anything. But I don't have concerns about, okay, well, they're just dicing them up and everyone's getting beat. I don't see a shootout happening. I lean more like a 27-21, 27-24 type of game.
So do you think there is an opportunity for the 49ers defense to kind of capitalize on Sam Darnold being nervous in these situations? Like a year ago, he's in the same situation with the Lions and Vikings, and we haven't seen him do this until a couple weeks ago. But do you think that Robert Saleh, even with all of the deficiencies they have on defense right now, he come up with a scheme that can make Sam Darnold see ghosts again?
I think you're always having that concern with Sam until he does it consistently. Again, the Rams game was big for him to be able to do that because you look at that fourth quarter in overtime, he was dicing people up. He was leading them up and down the field, and you went, oh, you can't stop this guy. And going for two, and a former Niner, Eric Saubert, catching that touchdown and sending us into a frenzy. It was, all right, that was the big hurdle for Sam in my eyes. I look at it and go, okay, he's got this. He can do this. It was you're kind of going through like a checklist, right? You're going, okay, here's a time where I struggled with this one. Cool. I can finally say I got the Rams curse off my back, at least for now, of they have my number. Now you're looking at the Niners and go, okay, this is another defense that had given you problems before. And you're going, all right, what do you got? It's all to me. And it's sad to say, but it still feels everyone out here is like, Sam needs to prove it. We're just waiting for it. It's like the other shoe to drop. It's like, when is that shoe going to drop? And I want him to be just able to just go and do his thing.
Yeah. I don't see it any other way. Like the conversation on ESPN was who's going to have a bigger game with Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold. And they kind of flipped the question and said, I don't know who's going to have the bigger game. We have to see the games actually play out, but who needs to have the bigger game between those two? It's absolutely Darnold. Like, I think Purdy's
100%.
Purdy's proven enough. Like, he's taken his team all the way to the Super Bowl, to overtime of the Super Bowl. In these last few games, he looks like the Purdy that they gave a $50 million contract to. So moving forward, it seems like they're okay. They got their quarterback. Whereas Sam Darnold, he's solidified himself as a very capable starter, like better than anyone anticipated since he was drafted by the Jets, but can't win the big one. And now with the 49ers defense just deteriorated. It feels like he just needs to have that bigger game. And I just wonder if that gravity that's attached to it, he kind of mentioned it earlier. The fact that he acknowledged it, you could tell he's thinking about it. I just wonder what that's going to look like. It's fascinating.
Well, you look at it and you're thinking the nice thing for this one game versus last year. Last year there was the cloud hanging over his head of if he doesn't win, is he going to be getting that payday that he was looking for? Because heading in, he was MVP talk, he was doing this, and then he had the game against the Rams and then the Lions, and you went, oh, he needs to do something. He's fine. He's got his contract, although the Seahawks can get off of it pretty easily if they need to. I don't think they will. I think he'll be here at least the full length of the contract. But it's not that aspect of like you're playing for your career. I do think there is I don't want to say legacy game because it's still a regular season game. You're not fighting for the playoffs. Your worst case, you're going to Tampa Bay or Carolina. So it's not the end of the world, but it is a big deal of, hey, get this job done. Like you guys have shown this year that you are right there at the top. You've made that leap. Let's see that next step from Sam and doing it and clinching that 1 seed would kind of to me be that stamp of approval of, okay, he's a guy. He's a guy in this league.
So you said you thought it was going to be like a 27-21 type of game. How confident are you in a Seahawks victory?
Oh, as confident as you can be in a quote unquote winner take all for the conference. These are two teams. It's not quite the level of 2013 and where it was in that NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
You went, these are the winners of the Super Bowl. Whichever team comes out of this, I think the winner of this game is the favorite for the Super Bowl by far. I just don't see anyone in the AFC that scares me. The NFC, it's the NFC West. Which team is representing the NFC in that side?
So if the Seahawks lose, I guess they would drop down to the 6th seed?
You can only go to the 5 seed.
Five seed, okay. So,
So Carolina or Tampa Bay, yeah.
Or even if it's a tie, they could go to the 5 seed.
Even if it's a tie, I believe we win the
that's right.
1 seed. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take a tie. Remember, what was it? I don't remember the year. I want to say 2021, the Monday Night Football Niners Seahawks, where the Niners could have chosen the tie and got the 1 seed.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
We went to overtime, and a bunch of missed field goals happened, and I was at that game right there. And I remember everyone was mad because Kyle Shanahan did not play for the tie, and they ended up not getting that 1 seed.
Was it God? What was his name? The kicker Blankenship? Did he miss the field goal?
No, not Blankenship. It was oh God.
It was another Colts kicker. Yeah, I'm blanking on his name right now.
I know. Yeah, it was. Oh God, it's gonna drive me crazy.
Yeah, that was the game where DeForest Buckner had a fumble recovery for a touchdown and went to overtime.
DK right at the goal line when he was trying to stretch it out, and it got turned.
Right.
I think that was Richard Sherman's first year with the Niners. It might have been like his second year.
Yeah. And then, of course, the regular season finale that ended with the Dre Greenlaw goal line stand in 2019.
We don't have Jacob Hollister anymore, thank God.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Barner will get across that half yard line.
One thing I will say about the Seahawks that I really like about this season in particular is they go back to their throwback uniforms, the worn moons. Those look fantastic. And I was hoping tonight, I know the Niners are wearing the rivalry jerseys.
Blacks.
Yeah, with the blacks and the red and the gold. I thought to counteract that, the Seahawks should be rocking the road silvers from the back in the day of the worn moons. I think that'd be sweet, but they're not going to.
It's funny. I would because when they started doing the throwbacks and you're getting to it, and there's people who go, "Oh, we should just switch to our old school logos and old school colors." I love the blues. I think it's special when you wear them. Every game, I don't know, but I do want the road old retro. I think those would be super, super dope to have. But we're wearing the white on navy blue pants. I was hoping for the gray pants, but it's all right. We'll go white on navy blue and get this thing done.
Nice. All right. So final prediction, Ryan. What do you see tonight?
I'm going 27-24. Jason Myers walk-off field goal. Ooh. He's been the best special teams player in NFL this year. I mean, he's won the Special Teams Player of the Month, I think, twice. He's almost close to breaking he's not going to get it, but he was getting close to breaking the most points in an NFL season, too.
Yeah. Anything else you got, Steven?
Man, it just feels like but it feels like there's far and away this is the rivalry. Like, I remember Max Muncy saying something a while back, which I think we played on the podcast, but he was on like Foul Territory TV or something. And he said, look, there's no Dodgers-Padres rivalry. Like,
Yeah.
there's, as
They
far
want
as
to
I'm
make it be
concerned,
something that
in sports, it's only one, but it feels like the 49ers and Seahawks is the rivalry. Sure, the Cardinals are there. Sure, the Rams are there, but
or the Cardinals.
exactly. Like the fact
Definitely
that
not the Cardinals. Definitely
the
not the
fact that both
Cardinals.
stadiums are among the loudest in the NFL, it seems both fan bases travel real well. There's a lot of similarities with these teams, and whenever them two are on kind of a similar path, it seems like it's all just really amplified. So I got nothing. I don't have like a question involved.
So
with
it's funny you say because growing up, obviously Bay Area and Seahawks fan, I hated the Niners. I got tormented. It was all everyone around me was Niner fan. I hated all. It's like that was the right. Like the team I hate the most is the Niners by far. The Rams have started to creep in just because I cannot stand McVay. I can't. And as much as you say, like Kyle Shanahan has owned, I heard you guys earlier. Kyle Shanahan has kind of owned the Seahawks since he's been there, kind of like Pete did when he was there. It was very much kind of one of those. McVay has owned the Seahawks and Mike McDonald's, and it was one of those where they were creeping in, but. Now that we're back here, I'm like, oh yeah, no. I know who I truly hate. I know who my biggest rival is. It's the Niners, and it only feels right that it comes down to this, just to this one seed on the line. It would be crazy if it was win or get in. That would be, I wouldn't be able to sit here right now. I would probably be doing like laps everywhere. I woke up, I texted Steven when he asked me this morning. I was like, I'm anxious right now. I just want it to be 5 o'clock. Luckily, we have a game before, if you want to call it that we'll see how the Panthers and Bucks do early on. But yeah, no, this is the rivalry. Yeah, see, that's the worst part is now it's that game's truly not win or in.
No, because I thought that was the case when they announced it. I'm like, all right, you know what? Even though it's some crappy teams, the NFC South, that division sucks. I'll watch it, obviously. But then when they announced that, well, actually, if the Falcons win tomorrow, then this game doesn't matter at all, and the Panthers could win the NFC South. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing then? What is this?
Well, I mean, I blame the Rams for losing to the Falcons.
That's true, yeah.
And I was watching that game, obviously cheering. You always cheer against your division rival. Anyone in your division, I always cheer for whoever they're facing, right? Then when it's Niners-Rams, I got to go, okay, who am I putting money on right now? What are we then I'll decide who I cheer for. But yeah, I mean, you're watching that, and it took the steam out of this game. And let me get your guys. I want to ask you about this because I don't care either way. But how do you feel when it was announced that this was the Saturday and not Sunday Night Football?
I'm not surprised because initially, we were talking about it. Could this game get moved to Sunday night? And I think because both teams have clinched a playoff berth, that's why they're putting it on Saturday night. It's just for seeding at this point, which is intriguing, obviously. But I think the bigger draw for a national audience is this Aaron Rodgers last game. It's Lamar Jackson versus Rodgers. Winner gets in, winner goes home. So I understand why they went with that game.
I'm going to steal Shasky's theory because I think it's a good one, but he assumes
he has a good one.
He assumes that the loser of this game is going to be playing. Obviously, it's going to be either the 5 or 6 seed, but the loser of this game, it might be the morning game of the Saturday of the wild card round.
Because of the extra day of rest. Well, because both of these teams are playing on the same day too. In theory, almost.
Yeah.
I think CBS gets that morning game on. Wait, it's sorry. Say it again, Steven.
It's going to be the Texans. We know that. Come on.
Yeah,
it's always the Texans.
True. Yeah. So hold on. Shasky thinks that the loser of this game will play the Saturday morning of the 4-5 matchup
or the Saturday game. Yeah,
Saturday game
on Saturday, which makes sense to me because like you get an extra day, and the 49ers have already gotten to both 49ers and Seahawks really have gotten pretty raw deals as far as rest for this Saturday.
So
the only thing that makes sense.
How can the Niners get the 6? Because if the Seahawks win, right, and the Rams win, Niners are the 6 seed. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's what it is? Okay.
Yeah, the Rams would have to lose the Cardinals in order for the 49ers to get the 5 seed at this point.
See, and that's where it's like you look at this and go, and for either team that loses, you have to feel pretty confident going in. Obviously, it's a bummer. You don't get the rest. You don't get the bye. You don't get the 1 seed. But I would take either of these teams as the favorite against Chicago, Philadelphia, or Carolina or Tampa Bay.
Definitely over Carolina and Tampa Bay. I give you that one. And I think people automatically are going to assume that the Panthers or Bucks would lose that game. We have seen in years past when a below 500 team gets a home playoff game. It's Seahawks in 2010. Yep. Somehow,
it's some way they champs.
Yeah, somehow, some way they rise to the occasion. Before we sign off with you, Ryan, I want to get your thoughts on this. I wanted to play a game with Steven, but I'll include you on this one because you have a good pulse on the NFL and everything. What do you think about some of these head coaches that could be fired? So you think Pete's done? We all in agreement on that one?
I think Pete's done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do we feel that Kevin Stefanski's getting axed?
He should be.
Yeah,
The way he handled that quarterback situation, I get him out of there.
Really? You
I think he's been a mess with Shador and Dylan Gabriel and Flacco.
I think he's a good coach whose time has run its course with a bad organization, and he deserves to go to a much better or more buttoned up one. Shout out for
Yeah, I agree with Steven where it sounds like they've already done some work on trying to find a next head coach.
Didn't they say Mike McDaniels is like in the running for it?
For Cleveland?
Yeah, that's what I read a report about that.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think Kevin Stefanski should stay because honestly, like they didn't set him up for success this year.
If you're Stefanski, Tennessee,
yeah, in a heartbeat, or New York. But I think that
I would just stay away from New York. New York itself is
but I do see potential there with the defensive players, and I think Jackson Dart. I really don't know what to make of him, but I do think he's kind of intriguing. But yeah, I guess between the two, Tennessee would be more of a better situation. I just think Stefanski, he's 2-time coach of the year. I think that if he did get a good quarterback, that team would be in a better position. They do have 2 first-round picks, but I do think it's leaning in the direction of him getting axed, but I don't think that's fair considering the owner put them in a shitty position trying to trade 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. It sounded like neither guy wanted him.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's handled. I mean, it's Cleveland. It's classic Cleveland. Yeah. You trade for Deshaun and all that that's going on, then you draft Dylan Gabriel and Shador and make it even more of a headline. If you would have just taken Dylan and said we're not taking Shador, fine, we're not dealing with that. But now you bring in both of those. It was a bad situation, and I think every time Stefanski's kind of been at the mic and talking about it, he hasn't handled it great. Now, if you're a guy and you're going, I got forced this kid, I don't want this guy at all, it's got to be tough to just be like, oh, am I answering these questions every single time?
Yeah. As you brought up Mike McDaniel, I think he's safe. But then again, now that they brought in, this is so weird, Troy Aikman to kind of help out the GM search, could he tell the owner, like, you should just start from scratch altogether? I think he's safe, though.
I never like the head coach GM separation.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're starting fresh, just start fresh and bring in the guys together.
Yeah, the Troy Aikman thing. It had me rethink it because Troy Aikman does not strike me as a Mike McDaniel fan.
You don't think they would be hanging out drinking a beer together?
Hell no.
Well, I guess Mike McDaniel's not drinking any beer anymore, but
yeah, I mean the way that Aikman was calling him out for that what was it, the Pittsburgh game? You might be right about that, Steven.
Yeah.
Raheem Morris, do we think he's going to next?
No, I think he's safe.
Yeah,
I don't know, dude. I think they've underperformed the last 2 years. I mean, like with all the expectations.
The way they're finishing this year has been. Of course, the Falcons, when it doesn't matter, do well.
Yeah. I'm gonna lean that he gets axed, but I could be totally wrong.
I'm giving it one more year, at least one more year with him.
All right.
Okay, this is his second year, right?
This is his second year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta give him one more.
Okay, the last one, they were in the driver's seat for this division most of the year, and then they might just miss the playoffs altogether. Todd Bowles in Tampa Bay.
Gone. Needs to be gone.
Yeah, I would agree with that one.
I think him calling out his players is kind of the axe there. I think that's kind of the straw that breaks the Todd Bowles back. Like I think it's done. I think it's done.
What about the Sunday Night Football? Do you got either of them moving on?
I don't. I
think both organizations could use it.
I agree. I think that's more of a media-driven thing. I haven't heard. I mean, I understand like people are coming out with like Mike Thomas could walk away. I don't. He doesn't strike me as that type of guy that wants to leave. And same thing with John Harbaugh, where I get it. Like they should start from scratch because of all of the playoff failures, but I don't see either organization being like, well, let's get rid of these guys, start anew. I don't see that happening.
There's not better options out there either.
There's not.
If you do, it's you're getting rid of those two guys. You're going, that's the tough part. But just the way it's been ending. And for Pittsburgh, it's been the same thing for the last, 5 years, it feels like at least. And you're going, all right, well, we got the 9-8 record. There we go. That's the meme, right? It's Mike Tomlin gets the 9-8 and he goes, we're 500. We're cool.
I have a feeling they're not looking at their coaching staff and thinking that's the problem right now. They're probably looking at personnel, players. Like, what are they going to do? I don't know about Derrick Henry moving forward. Like, is he a sustainable running back while Lamar Jackson's still one of the best in the NFL? I think the Ravens want to rework their defense. I did mention the John Harbaugh thing at the beginning of the season.
You did, yep.
Since Lamar got hurt, I just don't think I don't think that's going to happen. And Steelers are never going to fire their head coach. Mike Tomlin's going to have to be on his deathbed before they fire him.
Yeah, and there's a rumor
He's
out
just
there.
going to walk into a booth. He's going to walk into Netflix.
Yeah.
Well, with Tomlin, though, like some people are saying, like you just walk away from the Steelers to do a TV gig. Tomlin doesn't seem like the type of guy that would enjoy that at all.
That's a McVay thing. That's a McVay
100%. 100%. Ryan, dude, thank you for joining us today. And thanks for your support. I see you all the time retweeting our stuff with the podcast. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. Congrats to your dad for being back in the booth.
Thank you,
I saw
sir.
that, so I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Steve, I know you got some big things coming up in 2026, so
what do you mean?
I can see it behind you. Yeah, you got that. You showed me your diaper rack the other day. I was all right. So there we go. You've grown up with the hats are gone, the diapers in.
Oh my God, it's crazy. Yeah, thanks, dude.
All right, Mauser.
Go
Thanks,
Hawks.
man.
Go Hawks. That's all I got to say. Let's go.
There you go, man.
All right, get him out of here. Let's boot him out. Kick him from the studio.
No, dude, I agree with everything he was talking about. He is a reasonable fan, even though he's rooting for the Hawks. I totally get what he's talking about. I think that for this Niner team, I think it needs to be the same formula that we've seen the last few weeks is just try to rule the time of possession, try to run the ball, try to score as much as possible. But I don't think it's sustainable to, all right, well, we got to score so much, and then, let's see what the Seahawks do on offense. They need to find a way. Robert Saleh needs to come up with a game plan, get some turnovers, get something that gets him off course, just make him uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's going to happen where Ben Johnson lays the groundwork the week before and has the blueprint. I think Clint Kubiak can run with that and find a good game plan offensively for the Seahawks tonight.
I think so. But then you got to look on the other side and just think, God, the 49ers quarterback is playing out of his mind right now.
He is.
And it just looks like they're unstoppable. But the defense is it's so weird. I don't see this game getting into another shootout.
I don't either.
I do think it's going to be way below whatever the point total was for these last two. I mean, what was it, like 40? I can't even remember the score.
42-38 and then 48-27.
So we got 42-38. So we literally got an 80-point game. And
yeah,
math correct. Okay, good. Basic math can still do it. Got an 80-point game before, and then had a 75-point game before that.
I think it's much. I compared to those two games, I think it's much less scoring.
Yeah. I just and looking back, because Caleb Williams was just shredding the Niners defense, as was the Colts, but they haven't been able to get their run game going. And I was talking to Evan about this earlier this week, and Evan's like, dude, if you look at the metrics though, like the 49ers are kind of top 5 in a lot of the advanced run defense metrics. Like their run defense hasn't been nearly as bad as we've made it out to be when they're missing Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. They've been susceptible at the pass, but if you look at the run games, like those two teams with not only the Colts and the Bears, but I also look at the Panthers too. Running the ball was kind of their strength, where their quarterback was able to finish off a drive and score touchdowns.
But Carolina shot themselves in the foot that night with running the ball only like 6 times with Dowdle.
Sure, but still, the Bears weren't able to get anything going with DeAndre Swift, even though Caleb Williams was doing his thing. And the Colts weren't able to do anything with Jonathan Taylor. And what those explosive plays did was kind of let the 49ers offense just get back on the field when they're still fresh. Like I'd imagine what the Seahawks want to do tonight is kind of what the 49ers do, which is keep the offense on the field, grind their defense down, and don't let the other offense get the ball because our defense just is too prone to giving up points. I imagine that's what the Seahawks are facing, except I think the Seahawks have a little more confidence in their defense. When everyone, it's so funny with the 49ers because every player is essentially saying, yeah, we can't let our defense on the field, man. It's got to be up to our offense. Like our offense has to be perfect if we want to win games. It's like that is such a diss to the defense, even though they're not saying it.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, yes, because the defense has been terrible, and I understand what Evan is saying there with the run defense. It has been the best aspect of their defense so far, but I do think it's just because they're selling out for the run, and they know that they have no pass rush. That's their one thing that they could stop. I think that what I think we're going to see tonight is it's going to be kind of a mix of last week, where I think both teams come out swinging, and then who can make the best second half adjustments, because that was like Ben Johnson and Kyle Shanahan had a fantastic time calling plays, but neither defensive coordinator Robert Saleh or Dennis Allen could stop it. And I do wonder if Mike McDonald could go into his bag of tricks from 2 years ago. That's something that people are not talking about enough, where even though Brock Purdy has had his success against the Seahawks, Mike McDonald, he had better players in Baltimore that year, but he shut him down and had his worst game as a pro with 4 interceptions that night. And that's the night that Brock Purdy essentially lost the MVP. But I'm glad you brought up Tariq Woolen, Steven, because that's the guy that Kyle Shanahan goes after. Yeah. So is it going to be where Mike McDonald knows that and he can overcompensate for that? The biggest thing to me is, can Sam Darnold overcome the demons of the past and rise to the occasion for this game? And that to me, like, if he could do that, then that's where I think the Seahawks win this game. So let's pick it finally. Let's do this thing. Let's do something we call wins or wings for the last week of the regular season in the NFL.
Oh, God damn it. Damn it.
That was perfect. Damn it, Steven.
No, it wasn't.
It was kind of sneaking up. Okay, here we go. All right, we'll get to the Carolina-Tampa Bay game in a little bit, but let's do this one right off the bat. Seahawks at 49ers. The Seahawks are 2.5-point favorites. Over under 47.5, Steve.
I think it's a pretty big deal that they're favorites when the 49ers are at home. I'd love to take a home dog if I was a betting man, but 2.5 is not that big. I do have the Seahawks winning this game. I do. It's just, I don't know if the 49ers offense is going to be as prolific as they've been, where it feels like they're scoring on every drive and they're keeping Thomas Morstead off the field. I think Thomas Morstead is going to be as busy as he has been all season. By the way, he was hilarious in that game against the Bears. We didn't did we talk about it? We were on after that game against the Bears. It was hilarious how Thomas Morstead, after every punt, because he hasn't punted in a month,
he's running out there,
just sprint downfield like he's John Conn.
It's my time to shine, baby.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. But I'm going to lay the points. I don't think it's going to be a 75 to 80 point total, but I'm going to take the over on that 49.
Yeah, man. Here we go. Derek's a hater. Yeah, I am going to take the Seahawks. I do think that just a shredded defense makes the difference compared to the Bears have a solid defense, but the Seahawks defense is much better. The Bears defense was opportunistic, and that's where Kyle Shanahan found the holes. I think with the Seahawks, I think there's times, yes, where they can make Thomas Morstead come out, and that's the difference in the game, where I think the Niners have early offensive success, and that's where things flip in the second half. So I do have, in the end, the Seahawks winning this game and getting the number 1 seed. I see this game being like a 34-20 type of game where the Seahawks pull away in the end.
I think too, Purdy's going to have to make. It's not to say that he hasn't done this last 3 weeks, because he's been amazing when it's off schedule. But I think the pocket's going to collapse a bit, especially without Trent Williams, because
that's a big deal.
Line has all different ways of attacking, and the fact that Chris Forster, the offensive line coach, was very blunt about Pleasant's filling in for Williams. Like, you hear Kyle Shanahan talk about it. It's like, no, I didn't mention him. I didn't mention his name really all game, and I went back and watched the tape, and I still feel that way. He did good. And then Chris Forster comes in and says, there's like a line. There's a line. Trent Williams is always 100%, 100 steps ahead of that line in terms of how well you perform. Austin Pleasants was just good enough.
He said that? Wow.
Yeah, that was on. You don't see Chris Forster speaking to the media too much, or at least you do weekly, but you don't see it like posted anymore. You did last year, but not so much this year. And Eric Branch had that in the Chronicle. And
interesting.
Like, damn. So I do think that's gonna. I think that's gonna get exposed. The Seahawks are gonna find out ways to do that. But at the same time, I'm not going to come on here and say this is a surefire thing. Like, if I'm wrong about this, I wouldn't be totally shocked just because of how well Purdy's been playing lately.
Yeah, I think Purdy comes out and plays well initially, and then I think the Seahawks defense catches up a little bit. I think we've talked about it so much, and I think that Sam Darnold has heard all the noise about him, and he does know Kyle Shanahan. He did coach. He did play under him for a little bit, and Clint Kubiak does know Shanahan pretty well too. So I think this is where he rises to the occasion. I do think that he has a solid performance tonight. All right, let's move on to the other games. The other Saturday night game happening in about half an hour here, or an hour actually. Carolina taking on Tampa Bay. This is for the NFC South, kinda. We'll see what happens tomorrow with the Saints and Falcons. But the Bucks are 3-point favorites, over under 43.5.
I'll take the Panthers to win. I just think the Bucks have been sliding lately, and I don't know. The Saints have just been on a roll, so I think the Panthers are going to play with the mindset that the Falcons are going to lose that game, so the Panthers need to win. I think the Panthers are going to want it more. So I'll take the Panthers to win. And what was the over/under again? 43?
43.5.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa Bay has been awful for a good deal of time now. Since they started 6-1, they've only won, I think, one more game since then. Yeah. So, I'm going with, despite my better judgment, though, Carolina's just so hot and cold, and I think this game being at home helps Tampa Bay, even though they're banged up. I'll take Tampa Bay to win. I'll lay the points, and I'll go over. I think this is going to be a shootout. But let's go to...
Are you sure, Derek?
Am I sure?
Yes, I'm trying to help you here because the Panthers have won, lost since they played the Jets.
Yeah.
Which was the 7th game of the season.
And now now they won a game and they lost a game.
They haven't won 2 in a row. They haven't lost 2 in a row. And last week they lost. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, but I think
info.
I think this is the perfect spot for Tampa Bay to just totally shock everybody and be like, oh, they actually showed up for this one. They've been sleepwalking for a while now. Yeah, I'm going with Tampa Bay, but here's my thing. Okay, Tampa Bay wins the game. That doesn't matter, though. Let's pick the New Orleans and Atlanta game, where if Atlanta wins this game, that Carolina gets in. Atlanta's 3.5-point favorites, over under 44.5. Tyler Shuck playing his ass off right now, but so is the Atlanta Falcons defense and Bijan Robinson.
Again, though, I'm going to take the Saints to win. I think Tyler Shuck's been playing out of his mind, so I'm going to go with another road team, and I'll take the over.
I'm taking Atlanta to win. I think Atlanta wins the game. It may save Raheem Morris's job. They're coming in with a lot of confidence after their win against the Rams. I'm taking Atlanta to win. I'll lay the points, and I'll go over. And even though Tampa Bay wins, they don't make the playoffs. Carolina gets in, which is such a weird scenario to me. All right, then we got, for the majority of this slate, it's terrible. Even though it's one last week of regular season football, most teams have things clinched, so you're going to see a lot of backups. This essentially is going to be a preseason slate for the NFL. So we got Green Bay at Minnesota. Green Bay's resting Jordan Love and Malik Willis. Could even tell you who the starting quarterback is. J.J. McCarthy is going to play. 9.5-point favorites are the Minnesota Vikings. 37 points over under. You are muted.
Sorry. God, I did not see that. I've got to be honest, I was like looking at CBS as you're doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
CBS had them opening at 6.5-point favorites. So the fact that they're 9.5 just shows you that everyone's in on the Vikings. And even though that point spread has increased, I'm going to lay the points with the Vikings because I don't know what the hell's going on with the Packers. And I'll take the under.
Yep, do the exact same thing. This is just a get-right game for the Minnesota Vikings. The Packers are essentially resting before they make the playoffs. Then we got...
Sounded like you said sexually resting.
Who knows? Then we got the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 7.5-point favorites, over under 44.5. First and foremost, does Myles Garrett get the sack record, Steven?
Yes.
I agree.
I think so. Yeah, but with that being said, that's the only thing that the Browns fans will be able to celebrate in this one. I think the Panthers are going to win. I'm going to lay the points
the Bengals.
With the Bengals, and I'll take the over.
I think that Cleveland covers, but I'm taking Cincinnati to win, and I will go under on the 44.5. But yes, I do think Myles Garrett gets that sack. When Joe Burrow himself says, I'm not just going to get rid of the ball quickly because I don't want to give up the record, where Aaron Rodgers essentially did that a week ago.
Yeah.
Then we got Tennessee taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are 13.5-point favorites, over under 47.5. This is to clinch the AFC South.
Yeah. And come on. I mean, it's the Jaguars that are going to win. Question is, can the Titans cover? And I think they can. So I'm going to have the Titans covering. I'm going to lay the points with the Jags, and I'll take the over.
You know, as good as Brock Purdy's played the last few weeks, I think Trevor Lawrence has actually played a little bit better, just as far as his stats. He is locked in right now with Liam Cohen. So for that reason, the Jags are going to win this game, but I'll lay the points. They want to cement this thing for Duval. And I'll take the over, 47.5. Give me the Jags. Then we got, it's over now. Phillip Rivers is done. He's going home. He doesn't want any part of this Texans defense. And And the Texans still have a chance to win the South if the Jags lose this game, but I don't see that happening, obviously. So the Texans are 10.5-point favorites, over under 39, and it's Riley Leonard, your starting quarterback for the Colts.
Lay the points under. It's going to be like a 24-3 game, I think.
I'll go over, though. I'll go over on the 39. I think that the Texans' offense can score some points in this game. Then we got Dallas taking on the Giants. The Cowboys are 3.5-point favorites, over under 49.5.
Oh, man. And everyone's playing for the Cowboys, right?
Yep, sounds like it. Except for
Yeah.
Javonte Williams. I think he's done.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just it's a stinker. I'll just lay the points with the Cowboys. I'll take the over.
Yep, doing the exact same thing. Then we got a game that you and I will be monitoring. I don't know if we'll be watching this. Kansas City taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. I still can't even tell you who the quarterback for the Chiefs is right now, but whatever. The Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites. Over and under 36.5. Is this Travis Kelce's last game?
It is. The way that he's been talking, it is, because he hasn't been saying we in his podcast. He's been saying the Chiefs going into next year.
I'm not going to be here next year.
But hey, credit to him, man, because as a guy who, as we've kind of viewed as a look at me, kind of stealing from Dan Lebitard, a look at me, Louis, like as a guy we've kind of put in that category, he hasn't really done that this year. He hasn't gone like on a whole retirement tour where you know, each team is thanking him for the opportunity to play. So shout out to him if he in fact does retire, because he hasn't said anything or made too much of it. God, Kelsey's actually he's really grown on me, man. I got to be honest.
Since his days of swag at champs, dog.
I'm a big Travis Kelce guy, but so I do think he'll retire. I think he'll go into the Hall of Fame, first ballot, all those things. He's done enough in his career. But with that being said, I don't know who the Chiefs quarterback is going to be, so believe it or not, I'm going to take the Raiders to win.
Whoa, they lose the first overall pick?
Yeah.
Jesus, that'd be so Raiders.
I think it's going to happen, man.
Are you taking the over or the under?
I'll take the under.
I do think KC wins this game, and I do think this is Travis Kelce's last game. I do think that Las Vegas covers, but I'm taking the over. And yeah, with Kenny Pickett playing in this game, I think it'll be close. But I think that the Chiefs come away with a victory, and the Raiders get that first overall pick for the first time since 2006. 20 years exactly. Wow. Wait, no, that would be yeah, it's off by 1 year. Anyway, then we got the Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is going to play in this game, but for how long, we'll see. The Bills are 7.5-point favorites, over under 37.5. The Bills essentially are playing for seeding at this point.
Yeah, I'll lay the points I'll take the Bills to win because I think Josh Allen's going to give them enough, but I think the Jets are going to at least come back enough to cover. So I'm going to have the Jets covering, I'm going to have the Bills winning, and I'll take the over.
I'll take the over as well. I think regardless if Josh Allen's pulled, I like Mitch Trubisky more than I like, Brady Cook. So yeah, give me the Bills to win this game, lay the points, and I'll go over. Then we got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Rams. The Rams need this game to get that 5th seed. The Rams are 8.5-point favorites, over under 46.5.
Yeah, just lay the points with them. Take the over.
You know, one name we didn't bring up with Mauser as far as head coaching futures. I'm taking the Rams. I'll lay the points. I'll go over. You think Jonathan Gannon's back?
Yeah, I do.
I think so too.
I think
he just
Kyler Murray's
fires
gone,
his
but
coordinator.
I think Jonathan Gannon.
I think Kyler Murray. That's going to be the big thing this offseason. Then we got the Miami Dolphins taking on the New England Patriots. The Patriots trying to get that 1 seed over Denver. The Patriots are 11.5-point favorites, over under 45.5.
Oh. I think the Patriots winning, but I'll have the Dolphins covering, and then I'll take the over.
I'm taking the over as well. I think this is a scoring bonanza like last week, where Drake may want to pad the stats to get the MVP. I know Quinn Ewers had a solid performance against the Bucs, but I don't like his NFL future. Give me the Patriots to win, lay the points, and I will go over. Then we got the Chargers taking on the Denver Broncos. Justin Herbert's not going to play in this game. Chargers sound like they're going to be the 7th seed, and the Broncos are fighting for the first overall seed in the AFC. They are 13.5-point favorites, over under 37.5.
I'll lay the points with the Broncos, and I'll take the under.
I'm taking the over. I think that Trey Lance can score some points for the Chargers, but yeah, this is the Denver Broncos, cementing their flag as the number 1 seed in the AFC. So give me the Broncos, lay the points, going over. Then we got Washington taking on Philadelphia. The Eagles are 4-point favorites, over under 39. I think Josh Johnson's your quarterback for the Commanders again.
The hell? The Eagles are what? 4-point favorites, and they opened as 7.5.
A lot of guys on defense are not playing for the Eagles.
God damn. Yeah,
and if the Eagles win this game and the Bears lose, they get the 2 seed.
Yeah, that's a surefire. I'm gonna lay the points with the Eagles, and I'll take the under.
I'm gonna take the over. I think that, again, just trying to make sure they win this game and go into the playoffs with more confidence in their offense. So give me the Eagles, lay the points, I'm gonna go over. Then we got the Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears. Feels like a lifetime ago than the last time these two teams faced each other, with the Lions scoring 52 points. And now the Bears are the division champions, are in the driver's seat to get the 2 seed. The Bears are 3-point favorites, over under 50.5.
Yeah, no doubt the Bears are gonna win, so I'm gonna lay the points with them as well. And
no doubt, huh?
Yeah, I think so. And then I'll take the over.
Yeah, God. I got back and forth on this one because this would be the perfect spot for the Lions to be like, well, we of course laid an egg against the Vikings, but we know how to beat Ben Johnson. But I'm not going to do that. I think the Bears really need the 2 seed. So give me the Bears to win. I'll lay the points. Definitely going over. I think this is going to be a shootout. And then the last game of the regular season, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. No DK Metcalf. He's still serving that suspension with the interaction with the fan. The Ravens are 4-point favorites because Lamar Jackson's back, and the over-under is 41.5.
I'm going to lay the points with the Ravens. I'm going to take the under, and I think that this is going to be the last hurrah for Aaron Rodgers. He said that he's going to ponder his options over retirement. It's funny. Ian said, my brother, when we were, I think I told you this on the last podcast, I'm going to repeat it again. He said, like, Aaron Rodgers is just so much more likable when he's not joining Pat McAfee every week.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of, when he's just not spewing whatever thoughts that he has that come to his mind. But I do think there was a hint of, like, there was a hint of, I know I'm not like a hot commodity anymore. And he said, like, I'll have a lot of other teams asking about, and he's like, well, not a lot of other teams, maybe 1 or 2. And he said, well, I'll ponder that. And I just have a feeling that the 1 or 2 teams that are going to be looking for a veteran quarterback, he might not want to join. Like, the Steelers are a very well-run organization, and Mike Tomlin is such a player's coach. That's why he's been there for so long.
Yeah.
So I think, ultimately, my game pick, I have the Ravens winning. I'm going to lay the points with them. But I do think this is Rodgers' last game as a Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Ravens make a ton of sense here, and I could see it already where the Ravens win this game, and we get the shot of Rodgers walking off the field in his beanie. But for whatever reason, I think the Steelers' defense comes to play. I think Lamar Jackson's a little rusty. I got the Steelers winning this game, and I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, so give me the under. But I got the Steelers winning this game, and yeah, we'll talk about Rodgers more, but it's not as intriguing as a year ago. At this point, I think either go back to the Steelers or just retire. It doesn't make sense to go anyplace else. So
Right.
I'll nip that in the bud real quick with the Rodgers watch when it comes to me. And those are our picks for Week 18 in the NFL, the last week of the regular season.
Oh, shit. Trying to find it. I can't find the thing.
To turn off the music?
Yeah, all right, there we go.
All right. Do you have a Jackass of the Week, Steven?
Oh, God.
If you don't, it's all good.
I don't. I didn't even think about Jackass of the Week. I was just so ready for a little Marty Supreme action. Unless you got to get going. I know you're going to watch the games with your brother.
No, actually, he wasn't able to today. So we're just gonna watch at the house. Yeah, for me, Jackass of the Week, I'll keep it short and sweet. Lane Kiffin, just after Ole Miss wins, I was not against him for taking the job, but now it kind of looks like you made a jackass move. Like, this team, who knows, could win a national championship. If you bolt on that, oof, that's a bad look. And at the same time, like, congratulating them and posting stuff on social media. So, yeah, I think that in the end, he made a business decision, and I hate the way that the schedule is for college football. But if this team keeps advancing, he's going to look like a jackass for basically saying, yeah, I don't think they're capable of winning a national championship, even though he was with them all season long.
Yeah, I just watching all that unfold, it's just, I don't know, Lane Kiffin is just, he's funny, but, kind of a jerk.
Yeah. I look back to see the Al Davis press conference with the projector. And God, even then, like Al Davis tells you the whole thing. He was trying to get out of the Raiders head coaching job. Told Al Davis numerous times that he didn't think the team was capable of winning, and I think Lane was right about that one. He wanted Calvin Johnson over Jamarcus Russell, and Al was just stubborn. But even then, like he was kind of just conniving and trying to get out of the head coaching job with the Raiders. And Al's like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
And yeah, he's the same guy. He's the same guy from 2008.
By that same token, I'll give a jackass of the week to the referee crew for that Ole Miss and Georgia game. Where at the end of the game, I know it's the rules.
Oh
but
yeah,
there's one
went on for
second
way too
left on the
long.
clock. The safety's there. The stage is already out. They want to get the trophy presentation going. This game's been going on for a long time. Don't prolong this. And when there was like 6 seconds left when they hit that go-ahead field goal, and then the kickoff turned into a safety, it took roughly 20 minutes for that Georgia Ole Miss game just to end because the referees were doing so much deliberating. So I'll give it to the officiating crew, the NCAA, for that terrible scheduling, because I kind of agree with Dan Lanning. His comments went viral. Actually, a real power move on Dan Lanning's part, where he starts off, his team's had 10 days rest, right?
Yeah.
And that he's complaining though about the NFL the schedule and how the NFL is conflicting with it and the bowl games. And he says that it needs to be played as soon as the regular season is over, every Saturday, week after week. But in the middle of his spiel, he looks at Texas Tech's head coach, Joey McGuire, I think is his name. And he's just like, "You agree with me, right? You think?" And then he's like, yeah. And he's like, "Well, when's the last time you played?" December 6th. And then Dan Lanning's like, December 6th. And then rolling. Real power move on his part.
No, I agree with him 100%. I think that with everything, with the recruiting and whatnot, yeah, it needs to be pushed back. Everything as far as like there's not need to be a whole gap where let's have the Heisman ceremony. Do that on like a Wednesday and then keep the games going. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Pop culture catch up. Went to Grand Lake Theater yesterday to go see Marty Supreme. In preparation for it, I actually watched the Safdie brothers' old movies, Good Time and Uncut Gems. I still think Uncut Gems is their best work. I love that movie. I thought Adam Sandler was robbed of a nomination for an Oscar. I thought he was just fantastic in that flick. Good Time is a really good movie. This movie blew me away. But I want to hear what you have to say, Stephen, about it.
I think my biggest takeaway is, I mean, the movie was like a lot of fun, very fast paced, and it just goes, man. Like from the get go, like that opening credit sequence. It was just amazing. Where it's just they're in the library, they're making out, and next thing you know, the sperm, and it's the plot's laid out for the whole movie. It's not something you'd expect to see. But I think my big takeaway, other than the fact that I really like the movie, I really like Chalamet's performance, and you can go in depth on that and how it kind of reflects who he is as an actor, because he's one of the few who treats, as a guy who's a big sports fan, he treats acting and how his performances like he's an athlete, where he's convinced like he's the best in the world. It's like Muhammad Ali type stuff. Right. Where I'm on track for greatness. Like that's what I want. And a lot of people take it the wrong way. There's a lot of politics that goes into Oscars with all of that. So I don't know if he's going to get like a best actor or not or whatever. But it was still a great performance to watch. But the thing that gets me about the Safdie brothers, though, is just how they're able to turn non-actors into actors. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. He was awesome.
Yeah, he was good.
Awesome,
he was solid.
Yeah. A hell of a performance. And did you see the big dude, his best friend?
The
best friend who
he's like a viral sensation, right?
Yeah, dude. He's one of those guys who showed up on Side Talk, that New York City podcast or whatever it is, where they do man on the street interviews where they show Knicks fans going insane. Well, the big dude showed up on there. Josh Safdie saw it and saw that Twitter handle was Patrick Ewing. He saw him and said, "I want to bring him in for an audition." And he did the audition, and it kind of knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
And, you go back to kind of, I guess Good Time might've been Benny Safdie's like first movie as a primary, kind of in a primary role. Can't remember who the other guy was besides Robert Pattinson. Is it the other friend in that movie? But anyway, just getting non-actors to serve in a movie to serve a purpose in a movie. Tyler, the creator, like, you know how much of a fan I am of him.
Yeah.
Just seeing him was great. Except I'll say this, the theater, man, we talk about this every time we see a movie, but the Alameda Theater, people do not know how to act in a theater. And
Really? They were talking the whole time?
it's every single time we go see a movie. And I know I sound like the worst when I'm complaining about this.
No. People need to have theater etiquette.
Well, there's 3 ladies next to me who I almost respected it because they clearly know you're not supposed to talk in a movie, yet they do anyway, no matter what people are thinking around him. And during the bathtub scene, during the scene with Penn Jillette, I don't want to give too much away with that.
Yeah, he shows up too.
The reactions that those 3 were giving, it almost ruined it for me. So I want to see another showing of it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the movie nonetheless. Rant over.
No, dude, I agree that the Safdie brothers, their main objective is to show, in my opinion, New York douchebags, and just the story of that, how they're kind of underdogs, and somehow, some way, you find yourself rooting for them, but they kind of get their comeuppance in the end. And I think in this case, this movie's ending is very interesting to me, where Marty, he has this goal, and in the end, something happens where that goal is going to die, and it was just interesting. Like in, not to spoil anything, but Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler's character, gets shot in the end. Robert Pattinson's character goes to jail. In this movie, it's like he gets his life over again, and it's kind of, I think, symbolic of how men are in their 20s, where if you are job oriented, if you have a purpose you think you have in life, and then something comes up in your 30s, then you kind of put that on hold for what really is your purpose. So I thought the movie was really deep in that way.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same way like in Uncut Gems, where this guy is conniving and trying to come up with schemes to get money, and then crazy shit happens along the way. So it was different than their other flicks. I agree with you. I love the fact that they find non-actors or older actors from years ago, like Fran Drescher from The Nanny is Marty's mom, and she actually does a great job acting in this flick. So, yeah, honestly, I loved One Battle After Another. This movie's kind of right up there with me, and I have not been a big Timothée Chalamet guy. I haven't seen him in a lot of things, and that's just me, being an older guy and being like, who's this young kid who thinks he's a good actor? He blew it out of the park. He was fantastic in this movie. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets Best Actor, not only a nomination, but actually wins. Yeah, dude, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, dude, it's great. I don't really know, without like spoiling anything. I just think it's fast. You know what? I'll just say, kind of a spoiler alert here. So I'll give you 5 seconds to mute the podcast if you're listening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To your point about like being in your 20s, it really is. You feel like you're almost invincible. And if you have like these dreams, nothing in the world can stop you. But then, there are the powers that be that might get in the way of your dream. And you know what? It might end up with you just getting spanked in the ass.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about this more when the Oscars come around. But yeah, I thought a lot of people are debating the ending of the movie. Like, is it a good ending? Is it a bad ending? I think it's a good ending. And I think it's one that kind of symbolizes where, people are at in their lives, where they're focused on something so much, and then you realize that's not the most important thing in the world. And honestly, I kind of related to, you ever see the Pixar movie Soul?
Yeah.
Where that guy thought his whole purpose in life was to be a jazz musician, and then when he dies, he finds out that that's not the most important thing. That's not what defines you. It's other things in life. And I think that's what this movie was trying to say in the end. Also, the feel of the movie, where it was based in the 1950s, but they got a 1980s soundtrack, just weird, but it worked somehow, some way it worked.
And also the script too, the dialogue, like they're talking as if they're from now. It's
exactly. Like it wasn't 1950s stuff. It wasn't like 1950s slang. They were talking like normal people. It was weird, but I liked it.
Yeah. Although I'll say this, I guess like it came from a sense of like the power that the character felt, but I wasn't really at the end of it. I just kind of said, I didn't really get like Gwyneth Paltrow's character at all. I was just, You know, I mean, I got like what she symbolized was the power structure of things and where Marty Supreme was at in his life, where it's like he hadn't even heard of her. You know, she's like this famous actress who's retired. He hadn't even heard of her, yet he like wants her because of what she represents and where he wants to be. The character, I thought they could have maybe done a little bit more with that, but one of my favorite scenes in it too was where Marty shows up at the rehearsal that they're doing and
calls out the dude.
Calls out the guys. I was like, what are you holding a knife? What are you, a child? This is how you hold a knife. You gotta do this. Boom, 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 boom. And, it's like, it's so good.
No, it was very good. He definitely was, to me, an unlikable character, but like one that, like in the same vein of like Goodfellas or Wolf of Wall Street, where you find yourself like rooting for him, but like the whole time you're like, this douchebag, this fucking guy.
For sure. He's the way that I've seen it described is just he's a little shit.
Yeah, 100%. And I like that the movie, like I initially thought this movie was like based on, it's based on a former ping pong player from the 50s, Marty Reisman.
Yeah.
But it's not based on his life. So I thought it was going to be a biopic. And the way that the movie was advertised was kind of like the American underdog story. And I like that that's the way it was promoted, but it's definitely not that movie. It's more like being judgmental of the lengths that a guy goes through to get his dream.
Yeah.
And in the end, realizing like he fucked over a lot of people along the way and he got his comeuppance, but in a weird way where now his life starts over again.
Right. And it really did catch me off guard, but it just keeps going, man. Like the mobster, the dog.
Yeah, it was a lot of weird shit that popped at the movie, but that's what made it very interesting.
I think that guy's like a really well-known, maybe not
director. Yeah.
Yeah. I personally, I don't know like what he's made, but he's made a bunch of stuff that I've never heard of, where it's like a lot of, hard East Coast kind of mob mentality movies.
Yeah, it's definitely like a Tarantino move or a Scorsese move, where a director that they idolize puts them in a cameo in a movie.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, that's gonna be it for today. So me and Steven think the Seahawks are gonna win, but we'll react to it. I think we're gonna try to do the podcast on Monday this week. We'll see what happens with Black Monday. If Pete Carroll's axed, we'll hop on here. We'll react to the 49er game and we'll react to all the NFL news. But we'll see you guys then, and then we'll figure out what we do the picks for the NFL playoff show. To everybody in the chat, and thanks to Ryan Mauser for hopping on for a little bit of time. Good to catch up with him. Thanks to Don Peralta. Thanks to Ernie One. Thanks to Pat H popping on for a little bit. Thanks to, we got a lot of random people in here today. Frank Weber, Ryan Mauser popping in here again. PNW Silverback 201. Thanks to you, sir. Thanks to Chewy's Raiders coverage. Thanks to Smithers. Thanks to AJ Cruz. Thanks to Skills Report. Thanks to Mac Van popping in for a little bit. And I believe that is it. Everybody, we'll see you guys next week. Steven, say what you always say.
Oh, man, it is it's just our opinion, man. Oh, that was terrible. What do I do?